Hello, this is the podcast. Doop-de-doo. These are the people. Flare 2V.
What's up?
We got Ryuri.
Yes, hi.
We got the Tofu Man.
Hey, what up?
And we got Yellow Apple Man.
Hello.
He's actually called Gapples, but don't mind that. We're gonna talk about Hillbilly today. Everyone's favorite killer man. And then afterwards we're gonna talk about Leatherface because they share like 90% of the add-ons. And then we're gonna talk about the perk changes, and then I'm gonna actually I think we have one email.
Whoa.
Whoa. Right.
One whole email?
Yeah.
God damn.
Holy shit, dude.
It's like
Shout out to the dude who actually sent the email.
it's like 4 paragraphs. No, it's like four. It's like 2
We're gonna get to read them all?
Hell yeah. Alright, I think let's start with Billy. I like Billy. Lore, his parents thought he was ugly, so he was locked in the basement, and then he beat the shit out of his parents. The end.
Wow.
Is that really the lore?
Yeah,
Good.
that's the lore.
Yeah.
He was like
I don't really
locked in
like
his
that lore.
basement because his parents thought he was really ugly, and then like one day, I don't know where I heard, but I think one day like when his mom was like trying to give him food, he grabbed her arm, so his dad was forced down to tear the wall with a sledgehammer, and then he took the sledgehammer and killed his parents with it. The end.
Nice.
That's the
Hell
lore.
yeah.
It's
I actually
pretty
never knew
cool.
that lore.
It's pretty cool lore actually.
Yeah, I like it.
Now that I think about that. Alright, perks. Level 30. Best perk in the game, Enduring. You are resilient to pain. Your rate of recovery from stunts will increase by 50, 60, 75%. Quote, he stops at nothing. You get this at level 30. What do you think about Enduring? It's great! Next perk. No, I'm just kidding. What do you think about
No,
Enduring?
dude, Enduring is legit.
Good
Like,
perk. And it's
you know,
even better now.
yeah. It's one of those perks, dude. Like, kind of like how we were talking about Bond, I think, last time. Where Bond is one of those perks where people, like, at first glance, they don't really think it's that good because it seems kind of basic. I think Enduring is the same way, you know? Like, people will look at Enduring and be like, that's not even that good until you run it a few games. And then you're like, holy fuck, this perk is actually the most amazing thing ever. Like, I can't even tell you how many times that I've gotten a hit while a person is dropping a pallet, you know, and then they literally can't even vault before you're done with the stun, and then you just grab them. You get, like, a quick 2 hits, like, right away. That happens to me all the time. It counters Decisive Strike, which is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It does so much.
Makes stunts even more edible.
Yeah, and then like in the middle of chases, you don't even have to. You could just literally bulldoze through pallets. It's fucking amazing. Like, it's legit, probably my favorite killer perk of all. Like putting on Enduring and not running Enduring is like night and day when you're playing killer. It's insane.
Yeah, I would say
good perk.
I would say Enduring's still like 100% part of the killer meta right now to run, because it did just get buffed. It's still really good, and I think it just got out of the category it's still in the category of being like a necessity, unlike Brutal Strength. So yeah, what Tofu said.
It's also when you prestige killers, it's actually a lot more bearable now because chances are you're probably gonna get Enduring at some point, and now you don't have to use that 25% at rank 1 Enduring for like 50 levels. I don't know. Like when you get it, it's already at 50%, which is pretty neat. So that's
Oh yeah, no,
that's definitely nice.
Used right off the bat. I have a question. Why don't you just dodge the pallets then? Why don't you just dodge the pallet drop?
Yeah, why not just stop at the pallet? That's a great question, Flare
It's
TV.
a really
Thank you
good
for asking
question.
that. Thanks for asking that. There is
nobody
actually
here is a survivor main. No wait.
there's actually a good reason why you don't just stop at the pallet and avoid the stun. That's a very common misconception. And I figured you would want to rant on that, but I mean, yeah, if you're the type of killer who stops at every pallet and tries to avoid the stun, good survivors will notice and they will take advantage.
Oh yeah.
And what they'll do is they'll keep running through the pallet, and then you're gonna stop and try to avoid the stun and waste like a second of the shade. You're gonna give them basically like a second head start running, and they're just gonna loop you again. And they're gonna do that over and over and over. Like anytime I'm playing Survivor and I'm playing against a killer who tries to, we call it respecting the palette. If you ever hear someone saying respecting the palette, that's what that means.
Pallets.
Basically means you're respecting it, as in you don't want to get anywhere near it and get stunned. You'd rather stop moving entirely than eat a stun, and that's really bad. Like it might work against like low rank survivors who are really predictable, but high rank survivors are gonna just punish you like crazy and run you around forever. You're gonna get pal looped forever. You'll shorten chases by like insane amounts by just bowling through pallets and just eating the stuns with Enduring.
Good to know, thanks.
Hell yeah. Don't respect pallets.
Enduring sounds like a pretty good perk.
Doesn't it, Player 2B?
You know,
Oh
it
boy,
is.
Jimmy, that sounds like a good perk.
It's alright.
It's alright. Alright, anything else on Enduring? There's not that much you can really say about Enduring, I think. It's just good. Just use it.
It affects Decisive Strike.
Hell
No,
yeah.
but even better.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, we covered that in, like the last podcast too when someone asked about how to counter Decisive Strike. I mean, bam, Enduring, that's it. It completely fucks
Even
it
better
over.
now, though, because it's what, like 75% now?
Yeah,
I
it's
think
nutty.
it's still the same though.
No,
It just doesn't say in the... Because I've been Decisive Strike with level 3 Enduring this patch, and it still feels like the 35%. So I don't really know why they removed it from the description.
Maybe the numbers are misleading because Balanced Landing says it reduces 75% of all stun animations, but it only reduces 75% of like the maximum stun animation. So if you take a really small drop, you'll still get a sizable stun.
Yeah.
So maybe it's related in that kind of way. Where like if it's a really short Decisive Strike stun, it won't be super short. I don't know. Can't say for sure.
Oh, that's something to think about. Devs.
Yes, think.
Right. Next perk, level 35, we got Lightborn. Unlike other beasts of the fog, you have adapted to light. Resistance to blindness is increased by 20, 40, and 60%. Recovery from blindness is increased by 50%. I think it's like one of the new perks of Leatherface, which we're gonna talk about later. It's like one of those perks, you don't run this perk every game unless you see just multiple flashlights. It's like that trump card.
Lightborn's a hillbilly perk?
It
Yeah.
is.
It's a really perk.
Did you think it was...
How long have I been fucking playing this game? I thought that was a Wraith teachable. Are you serious?
What?
It
The Wraith
blew my
Shadowboard.
fucking,
And it's Shadowboard.
Wait, what?
Four
blew
eyes,
my
Wraith.
fucking mind.
See,
I'm
you learn
done.
something new every day, even if you have like 2 KRs or something, you still learn
That's
that
right.
Lightborn's actually not a Wraith teachable. Mind blown.
What Knifebird's trying to say is stop listening to us. We don't know what we're talking about.
Tune off right now. Go watch
But-
someone else who actually knows how to play
This
the
will be
game.
the final podcast.
We're quitting. I'm done. I'm moving on to TF2. Yeah, it's my opinion. You just you use Lightborn if you see a lot of flashlights, and if you don't see a single flashlight, it's a useless perk. So no.
I mean, honestly, even with a bunch of flashlights, you can kind of get by without it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I've ever put on Lightborn ever. Yeah, I was sitting here thinking about flashlights. I said Flashborn. You know what I mean? Lightborn. I don't think I've ever actually put it on like a single time. Like even against 4 flashlights, you can get by without it. I mean, it definitely is good. And I think the people who try to blind you on pallets, especially, you basically get a free hit like every single time because they just can't get the sun off. Like they'll sit there and
Yeah.
hold the light on your eyes the entire time, and then you can just
Why
Once
isn't this
over now.
working?
yeah. So it works pretty good against that. But other than that, like I don't know, like I don't really think it's that necessary, to be honest.
Yeah.
I love running Lightborn, or used to before the release of the new perk, Franklin's Demise, which we're going to get to.
All right.
I think it's better than Lightborn.
Yeah.
Franklin's yeah, it's better
You
than
think
Lightborn,
Franklin's
definitely.
is? Yeah.
The year is 2017. You can look up to negate flashlight blinds. If he's,
You
like,
can just
not-
look. You
if
can
he's
just
not- if-
turn around at a
Look
wall
up.
before picking someone up.
True.
I'm fine with
If
that.
the survivor isn't like sitting on your lap, he's not going to get a flashlight blind. What do you need Lightborn for? If you're stuck in an animation and he's rocking an instant blind, he'll blind you anyways. And then, as said before, you can run other better alternative perks. Lightborn, you know, it used to have a really kind of neat niche where you could throw it on if you saw flashlights, and then it would net you free hits, kind of off of pallets and stuff. But once again, instant blinds, and you can still be blinded. Like it'll act like a normal flashlight blind almost.
Yeah.
So it won't really net you those free hits. It's mostly just a fuck you in particular to that one survivor who decides to bring like a double battery.
Yeah. All right. I think that's it about Lightborn. Also, like, it's also a perk that you can't really say much about. It's also just a stat boost. You know.
Oh yeah, it's definitely.
Then we got level 40 teachable. We got the Dota 2 hero Tinkerer. Add-ons that affect charge time of your power are 6, 8, 10% more effective. What it actually doesn't say here, that it also just straight up makes the charge time of your power 10% faster, I think.
Yeah, it's apparently like additive to like what they're.
If
so
you're
like
good at math, you understand. I'm not, so I don't.
Well, basically how it works is like, say if you're a hillbilly and you run Tuning Guide and Primer Bulb and then Tinkerer 3, it'll still save the same amount of time as it would if you ran just Spark Plug and Tinkerer 3. It adds like it saves like a static percent of the actual base charge time and not based on the add-ons. So it's weird. It doesn't go off of like what add-ons you use. You still get the same benefit as long as you use any add-ons at all that affect charge time. You'll get the same benefit as you would with any add-on. It's kind of weird how it works like that, but it does.
It does add on to. So if you were to run Primer Bulb and Spark Plug, it adds on to those boosts, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. No, misunderstood at first. I get it now. Yeah.
Yeah, but the point is that it gives the same amount every time, no matter. Like obviously you'll get better use out of it if you use better add-ons because you're stacking on top of things that are already like high values. But yeah, like the actual perk itself won't give more of a percentage based on like higher percentage add-ons, if that makes sense. It just adds on top of whatever add-ons you use, no matter what. Like it's like a static value every time.
It's also like, I feel like it's not even. It's kind of a cool concept, I think, but just it's so useless on a lot of kills. Like you don't want this on Nurse. I don't even think it does anything on Myers if you don't have add-ons.
Yeah, so that's a point I wanted to touch on. Is this is in no way like a meta sort of perk. It's like really niche depending on what you're running. I like to run it, on Hillbilly, Wraith, Myers, things like that. Anything that can make use of those charges. But yeah, I agree with you.
It's a fun perk to mess around with, but
Sorry, what's up, Rudy?
No, I was gonna say I don't like how it kind of messes with your muscle memory.
Charge out like it messes with your timing
because my muscle memory is just so
like it's good on Billy, and if you have a steady supply of add-ons, it's fine.
Damn.
But I mean, on any other killer, it's questionable in its use.
Honestly, I actually really like it on Myers. I'm gonna be perfectly honest.
Myers might be good. I'd never use it on Myers, so.
Yeah, whenever I have dailies to level them up, I usually run it with the add-ons, and it works pretty good.
You could run it with.
Because you stalk faster. Right?
It's the J. Myers Journal and the Memorial Flower and Tinkerer. That build, you soak so much evil within.
I've ran just 2 add-ons, and yeah, I can imagine with Tinker, it's like instant.
Yep.
Tinkerer used to be the bad at math perk. The way it worked before, where instead of adding just a flat additive 10% to each add-on you equip that affects the killer's charge time, it was, I think it was 15% multiplicative of your add-on. So if you had an add-on that increased the charge rate of your power by say 10%, Tinkerer would add an additional 1.5%. Or
yeah,
it was so bad. It was so just god awful. And people were still running it like. So okay, enough of talking bad about Tinker in that sense. How useful is it currently? Well, the way that the math here works is add-ons that improve your charge time of your power increase the rate at which it occurs. So if your charge rate by default is 100%, Tinkerer, 10% from Tinkerer isn't going to make it take 90% of the normal time for you to charge your power. It's going to make your charge rate 110%. Now, what does this mean? This means that adding charge rate has diminishing returns. So if you've got two add-ons that are 10% charge rate for whatever reason, Tinkerer's additional 20% is going to give you diminishing returns on how fast your power charges. So it can be fun to throw in Tinkerer and then throw on some add-ons for charge time reduction. Just for that feeling of charging shit really fast. How useful is it? I wouldn't say it's that useful. I would say Tinkerer's best use is to negate the slower charge time. So some add-ons are really strong but have penalties for your charge time. So like Doom Engravings. Tinkerer is best utilized with add-ons like that to negate the negative charge rate. So yeah, I don't know. I still don't think it's really worth a perk slot, but it's definitely a fun perk that you can run.
Did we ever have a bug in game where Tinkerer would actually negatively affect?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah?
Because it was multiplicative. It would multiply whatever value currently. So if you had add-ons that made your charge time worse, it would make it even worse. By a very small amount, granted, but
It used to also be the bug where if you ran Sabo add-ons on Trapper, it would stack with that. And you literally when you tried to Sabo a trap, the bar just wouldn't even move at all. It would
go backwards.
Yeah,
I mean, was it ever confirmed that was what the issue was, or?
That was so funny.
But no, I mean, I agree with Flair. I think that's probably the only time it's worth it. Or if you just want to run like the most insta-charge chainsaw fucking possible, where you want to run like a tuning guide primer bulb tinker and be that guy. But honestly, like tuning guide tinker, or I mean tuning guide primer bulb even without tinker is plenty. Like you shouldn't need tinker, you know. But if you want to just go all out with it, you know, I mean, you can too. I don't think that's worth a perk slot either. You know, I think you're better off running something else and having a slightly less instant chainsaw. You know.
You know, with all this math we've got going on here, can I just mention that I just realized that the hillbilly's real name is Max Thompson Jr. If you take the first two letters of his first and last name, you get math.
Oh wow!
Yeah, you do.
Wow, that's crazy. Wow! Whoa!
Whoa! Jesus Christ!
Whoa. Dude, I can't handle this information.
This is fucking lore here. Would this be considered lore though? I don't really think so.
No.
It's more like Illuminati sort of inside depths.
Fucking X-Files theme here.
Yeah.
Alright, we gotta go about his chainsaw. He has a chainsaw. You run fast when you... I'm just gonna read this out. What the hell? The chainsaw is the secondary weapon of the hillbilly. A hulking and deadly chainsaw of terrifying strength. Grinds through flesh, bone, and soul. Once revved up, sends its user into a violent frenzy. Break into a crazed sprint on activation. Turning is tremendously slower without any add-ons. Automatically triggers dying state on a successful hit. Running into an obstacle will stun the hillbilly. Instantly break pallets with reduced stun time. Must sprint into the pallet. Standing directly beside it will only stun the hillbilly. It's a good power. 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10?
I mean,
I'd give it 10 out of 10 if it's still hot flick, you know? But
True.
I feel you. Right now it's sitting at like a 9 or an 8, yeah.
Or if like I could actually start a charge in the direction I was looking at and not 90 degrees to the left or right. Well,
Alright.
Maybe you should get good.
Probably.
Yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. That's a user error.
Just... Really? We got nothing to say about this? We're gonna go
I mean, it's one of the only abilities in the game that can one-shot down, which is, you know, pretty fantastic.
You know,
I think any killer that can one-shot down automatically has a huge advantage of like map pressure that other killers don't. Like, you know, if you catch someone out in a bad position with Hillbilly, You just one shot down him. You know, there's no fucking around. There's no like hitting him. He sprints off to some tiles, and then you chase him around. He's fucking dead. You know, like you find him, he's out in the middle of nowhere, he's dead. As long as you don't, you know, like whiff a back rev or whatever, then you know he's dead, which I think is huge. And I think that's one of the things that makes Billy. I mean, I don't know. I guess I could talk a lot about this. I mean, this is what makes Billy so good. The fact that he can one shot down people. The fact that the mobility makes him get around the map. This is why Billy is like probably the second best killer in the game. Is because like he can one shot down people. He has mobility. He can get around the map like crazy. If you get better with the chainsaw, you can get from one side of the map to the other side of the map on pretty much any map, except for like bullshit like Larry's. You know what I mean? But pretty much every other map you can get from like one side or the other, just like bombing and weaving through trees. And the mobility mixed with the ability to one shot down and create that map pressure insanely fast is just it's nuts. It's if you play a game right with Billy, there's nothing that anyone can do. You know, like they'll just get fucked.
Cross map chainsaws are pretty fun too.
Yeah, that too. Put on like modern abuse and double engraving. Fun stuff.
Very fun. So, anything else? Are we gonna go into the add-ons? It's quite a lot of add-ons actually. Holy crap.
Alright, so Billy's chainsaw right now is its mobility, and as Tofu described, it's the punish tool. Survivors with really, really bad positioning can be cut down instantly instead of taking one hit and then continuing the chase. It only really applies when they've really dicked up. Like, you have to make a pretty damn big mistake or get bloodlusted to get chainsawed. It used to function a little bit differently, how the chainsaw worked because of the flick. It might not have seemed like much of a thing, but it allowed for much more consistent chainsaws in a lot of scenarios. But right now, it's a mobility tool and a back rev tool. So it's a little bit mindless compared to how it used to function before, because it's the scenarios within you can use it are so very specific. When you're directly behind someone, when a survivor is locked in an animation, and in perfectly straight hallways. So sometimes you can land distance chainsaws between the hedges on like Haddonfield, or there might even be some spots in say Larry's or whatever. So anything other than a back rev is not guaranteed, just because it's impossible to properly react to all of the movement a survivor can do in the time that it would take for you to chainsaw them. So if you're not quite directly behind them, but you're very close to behind them, and they make some and they move just as your chainsaw sprint starts, sometimes you're gonna whiff. That's just how it is. Now, before with the flick, you could react and then hit them, so you could line up chainsaws where you weren't directly behind them. If you were on a window setup, you could time your chainsaw rev so that you broke out into a sprint at the perfect time of like turning a corner, say, and then cover options with the flick, so you could chainsaw to one side or another side. And then, depending on which way they moved, you would either hit them or miss them. So it kind of formed this mind game. And there was also like the whole trying to dead zone survivors. So if you knew that a survivor was heading into kind of an enclosed space, not perfectly enclosed, but like some sections of jungle gyms, some sections of maps, I've caught people between the hill and the outside of the map, or just, bigger, bulkier objects. You could kind of rev like right before turning the corner, and then you would turn that whole area into a dead zone where you'd hit them with the chainsaw no matter what. But of course, the survivor had to make the mistake of going in that direction. And if you tried to back rev someone and they picked up on it, or not back rev, if you tried to chainsaw someone from a distance and they picked up on it, all they had to do was stand behind an object. They just had to stand. They had to put an object between you and them, and then they could react. Because the turn rate wasn't super fast, they could react and move to the side that you had chosen. So if you went left, they could go right, and if you went right, they could go left. So it wasn't, completely unavoidable. There was a lot of play around it. Hell, there was even mind games to it where you could, start faking a chainsaw rev. So like you could start revving up, and then after halfway, just drop the chainsaw rev and let it fall out, and then catch a survivor by surprise. So maybe they're trying to avoid your chainsaw by putting objects between you and them, but that closes distance because they're zigging and zagging, which means they're not traveling in a straight line, and it allows you to get closer for maybe a back rev or other option. So I don't know. There is a lot to the chainsaw because it's not a threat at a distance anymore. It really can't be used for all that much other than back revs, unless the survivors are really bad. I think it's kind of sad to see the state that the chainsaw has fallen into.
Amen.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think there are some other kind of like, I mean, I think you can play people at like T-walls and stuff, and sometimes like predict the window vault and land a chainsaw and stuff. But even that's pretty rare. Like you are right. It's pretty much like 99% back revs now, which is it did take a lot of like the mind games and like the actual. I don't know. I do understand where you're coming from. Yeah.
Yeah, for players that have played this game like us from the beginning to end and seen how the chainsaw has actually grown, it's a little disappointing.
Yeah. Well then, guess we're gonna go into the add-ons.
Let's do it.
Right, just keep in mind that Hillbilly and Leatherface, or the Cannibal, share like 90% of add-ons. I'm gonna make sure to say which add-ons they don't actually share. Alright. The first add-ons in the common category. Actually, let's just start with all the chainsaws that decrease the cooldown. We've got the vegetable oil, which decreases the chainsaw's cooldown slightly. We've got the shop lubricant, which moderately decreases the chainsaw's cooldown. And then I think we've got the Thompson's mix, which considerably increases the chainsaw's cooldown and slightly decreases the charge time. Yeah, that's it. Chainsaw cooldown. I think this means the time between like using the chainsaw and you being able to use it again is reduced, right?
Yeah, and that or like swing or basically do any other action. Like basically the time from when you are done chainsawing and when you're able to do any like swing, do anything. Like normally, like by default, after you're done with the chainsaw, like after you do your animation of swinging it, you're kind of like stuck in place. And like when you're not stuck in place, like you can move, but it's slightly slower, and you can't swing or do any actions for like I don't even know how long it is, like maybe like a second and a half or something. And if you stack those add-ons, like honestly, like I think one of my favorite add-ons is Thompson Mix, because as soon as you're done chainsawing, you like immediately have action. Like you can immediately swing, you can immediately start another chainsaw, you can do whatever, like immediately. It's really, honestly, I think it's an underrated sounding add-on.
It's like the unrelenting of the chainsaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say that any of the mixes for the cooldown reduction are comparable, like maybe a tie. I personally like the cooldown reduction more than like a charge time. I think it's a lot stronger, just because if you miss the chainsaw, that's fine, but you'll just be able to go again and be able to do whatever you want. Depending on what the play is, you might not have time for a chainsaw if you miss the chainsaw, but you might be able to gain a health state by hitting them with an M1 or something like that.
Also, side note, I forgot to mention the Thompson's mix is shared with Leatherface, but it's actually renamed into the Grease.
The Grease.
The Grease.
I like that name better.
Yeah. I mean, the Thompson's mix has something, but the Grease is also pretty cool.
Especially like the way you say
it. Compared to the Grease.
Alright, cooldown add-ons. Anything else?
Not much else to say. I might be wrong. I believe that the cooldown add-ons only have an effect on after you've swung and missed, and not after bumping into an object. I think those two cooldowns are kind of like a separate kind of thing.
I think bumping is actually classified as a stun.
It's a different add-on. So
yeah.
So there's two different cooldown add-ons. There's the time penalty after bumping into an object. So if you wanted to, you could just run those and then intentionally bump into objects, and you can have the the cooldown reduction already.
You know, just stop. Don't bump into objects.
That works.
Just respect the map props. Don't bump into them. Alright, let's go over the charge time add-ons, actually. We've got the Spark Plug, which slightly decreases the chainsaw's charge time. We have got the Primer Bulb, which moderately decreases the chainsaw's charge time. And we've got... Oh yeah, we've got the Carburettor Tuning Guide. I really hope I didn't butcher that pronunciation. Oh boy. Moderately decreases the chainsaw's charge time, slightly decreases the chainsaw's cooldown, slightly reduces the time penalty when bumping into objects, slightly reduces the noise by the chainsaw. Charge time add-ons. Also pretty good.
Yeah, starting off with just the Carburetor Tuning Guide does so much more than just charge. Like it's honestly Billy's best add-on. Just it does so many things for you. It's so good. It can be paired with a bunch of different add-ons. I would say that the charge add-ons are, if you want like an easy game, they're very, very strong because you can basically, it's applying more pressure to a situation. Like if you think you have enough time before an actual rev, when you don't, you can catch a couple survivors off guard. Probably just the first one. If a team of survivors hear you rev for like a second and then the person goes down, they'll say, "Oh, he's running an insta chainsaw." So they're very strong, but I would say it's probably classified as like easy mode Billy.
I mean, yeah, it's probably classified as easy mode Billy before Leatherface was released. But
yeah.
Ooh. Got him.
It's
Kobe.
Yeah, a lot of I suppose not so much anymore. But a lot of the learning curve of Billy was getting used to his charge time and then knowing when to start a rev to get around an object. Now that you can only back rev, it's not as much of an issue, I suppose. But as a survivor, all the counterplay around avoiding the chainsaw, so like timing your vaults, having enough distance to be able to make it to pallets and stuff so that, the chainsaw can't just be used like a lunge attack, relied on the 3-second charge time. So when you stack a lot of these add-ons together, it does kind of remove a lot of the counterplay ability, and I'm kind of upset about that. I almost wish they didn't exist, but what can you do? I don't know if they're overpowered so much as just not fun to play against. Really fucking good add-ons though,
Yeah, I mean they're pretty much like the most straightforward beneficial add-ons, And yeah, like I do agree playing against them, especially if you get stacked of like playing against like Tuning Guide, Primer Bulb, Tinker, Billy is probably the most fun thing you could possibly do as a survivor in this game. I have a blast every time.
Yeah. I mean so another thing that I wanted to mention is how not in just Billy terms, but how add-ons can actually kind of replace your perk build, right? Because if you're running Brutal Strength, there's really no need to, because if you're running an Insta-Charge Billy, you can just use your chainsaw instead, which I also think is an added benefit. What was an added benefit before the pallet break increase? Seeing as I personally think Brutal Strength isn't a necessity on most killers anymore. So that's kind of a nerf, I guess, to these add-ons, where it's just like, well, you wouldn't need to run Brutal Strength anyway. But yeah, so it just frees up another perk slot, in my opinion.
One thing that not a lot of people know is that, well, okay, very, very recently, there's a buff to... Actually, was there? Did they buff killer base kick speed?
Yes.
Yes, 20%.
Okay.
This patch.
Yep.
I'm not going to jail.
15%.
There you go. Even before that increase, if you were to take a stun at a pallet without enduring, or with enduring, I guess it doesn't matter. If you were to take a stun at a pallet and then rev your chainsaw with no add-ons to chainsaw the pallet, it would just be faster to kick it without brutal strength than if you were to rev your chainsaw. It might even be faster to just kick the pallet than it is to rev even with all the add-ons. So there are situations where the faster rev can be better for kicking pallets than or better for breaking pallets than kicking them. But usually it's better to just break the pallet if you're taking a stun or if you're in that kind of a situation.
Right. It's also a good idea for like a pallet force. So if you're doing a loop and you're going to force the survivor to drop the pallet, if they don't drop the pallet, they're going to either take a chainsaw hit or they're going to be cheeky and try and get the stun while you're chainsawing, which does happen too. Also added pressure if you're going to whip around a corner and force them to drop it.
That makes sense. I can't think of all the loops you'd be able to do that on. I would suggest that at higher level play, maybe avoid that because getting the stun is pretty consistent. It's pretty reliable for when Billy's revving. From a distance anyways. I guess if you're up close, maybe not. But then you could be respecting the pallet and maybe get another loop. You never know.
Yeah. Charge time add-ons. Anything else?
I think that's about it.
Gets the job done. Alright. We got the chainsaw file. Slightly reduces the noise made by the chainsaw, and then we've also got the homemade muffler, which moderately reduces the noise made by the chainsaw. And, carburetor tuning guide, which also slightly reduces the noise made by the chainsaw. I like these add-ons. I really, really like just running the chainsaw file and the homemade muffler. Just Silent Billy.
Yeah, they're really fun, especially with shit like monitor and abuse.
Oh.
Yeah, it's pretty fun. I don't see it that much anymore, honestly. Like I remember back when Muffler first came out, when they first added those like extra add-ons like Muffler and Tuning Guide and all that.
Oh yeah.
There was Silent Billies like every game, man. Like every game was a Silent Billy. Yeah, and it was terrifying. I don't see it like at all anymore. I mean, I don't even run into Billies that much anymore to be honest. It's like one every like 8 games or whatever. But even when I do, I haven't really seen it. I don't think I've seen a silent chainsaw in a long time.
Right. Back in the day, it used to be
bugged too, right? Like recently.
Back in the day, it used to be like super silent, right?
No, that was like, a rate that those were bugged.
Oh.
The chainsaw files, I think, worked.
Yeah, I remember back in the day running this when it was like almost a completely silent chainsaw. Playing against it now, this might just be me, but I don't think like you can still hear it, right? If you're paying enough attention. Or am I crazy?
Yeah, I mean, I think I've played against one recently. I think, and that's the thing too, is I don't even know anymore because I haven't like ran into one of those games in a long time where I just don't hear it, And maybe that's why, like maybe just because they're not as effective anymore. Like fuck, for all I know, maybe I did play against one.
Yeah, I know that back in the day when I played against a Silent Billy, it was if you weren't looking behind you, prepared to get chainsawed because you won't hear it. Back in the day with it was literally Stealth Billy, which is really cool. And I don't know. I think that if you're running these add-ons, it's cool. Like it kind of helps. But people will still be able to hear your chainsaw just like at a much smaller. Like they'll still be able to hear it. It's kind of more like a humming. But that might be the devs trying to be like, well, when you're being in a chase. You'll hear the heartbeat in your ears more than you'll hear the chainsaw. So maybe they bumped it up a little more so the audio still works on the chainsaw.
I guess I'll say this: when they first came out, when the whole add-on set first came out for Billy, his silencing add-ons were more effective because from a distance you had a better chance of hitting a chainsaw if they didn't see you coming right away. So if they see you now, they can react to you with less time required than before because you would have to how do I say this? It was the flick, man. If you were chainsawing towards someone and they didn't realize right away, then you could still hit them to your left or right. But now if they see you coming, even at the last moment, and they just move slightly to their left, you're going to whiff. So that might be part of it. Another thing is it might be outdated because of monitor and abuse and the speed add-ons. I think they give even less time to react than the silent add-ons, because even with the silence add-ons, you still have a heartbeat. Monitor and abuse can reduce that heartbeat, and then it's further benefited by the really damn fast chainsaw add-ons. So,
and if we had the exact same numbers at how fast Billy actually moves,
I think it's 8 meters a second by default.
you think?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah.
We can actually check that right now with the Dead by Daylight wiki. Yeah.
I don't know if that's on there.
I can check.
Someone from my chat, Grant, is pointing out that another key thing about these add-ons is that, and I kind of took this for assumed or granted, but the silence of the chainsaw actually allows you to go by the gens and hear if they're being worked on or not, which is actually pretty beneficial to you for map pressure, at least, because with a full chainsaw, it's actually pretty difficult to hear if a survivor is plugging away at a gen.
that's true.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yes, yeah.
It's almost quality of life, but I can see that having like actual utility.
Or if you're like any good killer main knows how to keep tabs on gen progression. So if you leave a gen and you are trying to figure out just by audio how high has it gone up since I've been gone, you'll be able to tell just by going by it, like, oh, this has 3 cylinders pumping instead of 2 now. There's a person here.
Well, that's like visual feedback.
Well, at some point you'll hear it'll be at a higher rate.
I mean, but you could just look at the pistons, you know.
Right, but if you're going by it or it's obstructed, then you wouldn't be able to see it, and you would have to stop chainsawing. But at this point, you wouldn't have to.
Building or something.
Right.
I've actually got the numbers here of how fast it moves. All right, so just with the chainsaw, it's 230%, which means 9.2 meters per second. And with both engravings, he moves at 12.4 meters per second.
Sizable increase.
Blame McLean, because those numbers are wrong.
Are they? Well, it's the wiki, not me. Yeah. Silent Billy. We've got next add-ons. We got the Spack Boot. They're not shared with Leatherface, which moderately increases steering while using the chainsaw. And here we get the Chums Moonshine, which tremendously increases steering while using the chainsaw, but considerably increases the time penalty when bumping into objects. I actually really like the Thompson's Moonshine just because it implies that the hillbilly gets drunk on a regular basis. That's pretty funny.
I like these add-ons because they are kind of like indicative of bringing back the flick, I guess, because like I had a game the other day where on my screen it was total bullshit. I was just like, that was literally the biggest flick I've ever seen. I have no idea how you just did that. And it was because it was taking into consideration the spiked boot's turning radius, that he had a hardcore left and he was actually able to wrap around a gen and basically get the auto aim hit on my model.
Huh.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. So pretty good as long as you keep control, because if you bump into shit when you have a moonshine add-on, good luck.
Yeah, I do think that those add-ons are fun as fuck too, by the way. I think that's another thing, is just playing those add-ons is like the most fun thing, dude. Just zooming around the map and bobbing and weaving in and out of shit is so good, dude. It's so good. I love it.
Yeah. Being able to do full circles on map, it's just so good.
I just find these add-ons fun, like, from the design. I mean, spiked boots like Billy literally just put nails on his souls,
Yeah.
and then it's literally alcohol. He literally burns moonshine. I love these add-ons just because of that. So yeah, Flair, got anything about those add-ons?
Not much to add. You get some pretty nutty turn rate, and I hear what Rix is saying. Is it definitely feels baloney when you get hit by it as Survivor, right?
You can do some
Right.
bad.
I would argue that I would argue with add-ons or even just the increased turn rate, it can feel like at times Chainsaw has less counterplay than it did before. I don't know. I guess that's my 2 cents.
I mean, I agree.
Those were some clean cents. Yeah. Next add-on. Oh boy, the speed limiter. It's only one of these. Your chainsaw does not automatically trigger dying state, but you get a whole 50% more blood points for chainsaw score events in the deviousness category. Oh boy.
Let's
the
talk
meme limiter.
about the meme.
Add-on, yeah.
The meme limiter.
Best add-on in
Oh
the game.
boy, is that actually what a speed limiter looks like?
I have no fucking clue.
I think it's got little things that catch on the air or whatever, so the air resistance limits the turn rate. That's what those little doodads are.
I really don't. What I kind of find funny is how it's a speed limiter, but it actually doesn't make you go slower. Like, okay, I get the idea behind, oh, you can like use this
Well,
and
it
get more
limits the
blood points.
speed of how fast.
It limits the speed at which the chain moves.
Yeah.
Oh.
So the chain
Oh.
doesn't spin as fast,
That's
so it
what it
doesn't cause
does.
as big of an
Oh.
injury.
Oh man, I mean, it says right there, like it forces a constant and safe speed.
Yes.
That's
Yes,
just-
the magic of air resistance, aerodynamics.
Dumb. All right. We got Oh man, sorry. Anything else about meme limiter? I think we should.
I mean, I
This
feel like it's
add-on
pretty
deserves more
straightforward
talk,
add-on. It's literally just if
It's
you're
a straight
feeling
down
confident. Yeah, like if you're feeling confident and you want to get a bunch more blood points and you want to fuck around and have fun, you know, throw on speed limiter. You might not do so well because you can't one shot down anymore, but it'll be fucking hilarious when you chainsaw people and then they act all confused because they don't know why they didn't go down. It's a pretty
What
fun time.
happened?
Yeah.
And you also get a shit ton of blood points, you know, which is nice. And also keep in mind that it also affects the brutality that you get from chainsaws too. So you get like 450 brutality as well as like the 1275 deviousness or whatever the fuck. So if you stack all those, it ends up being a lot. Like if you just like chainsaw hit down everyone, you can max out both categories like really fucking fast.
Hell yeah.
I mean, I haven't really used it as much since killers have been getting progressively worse in the high top tier gameplay meta. But it's definitely a neat add-on. I'm kind of sad that it doesn't affect post game blood point gain because usually when I'm playing Billy, I max my deviousness anyways. But it does, affect brutality, and that's not something that I thought about. So maybe it has some use there. I don't know.
It would be a really cool. I think it would be actually a really cool add-on if just what it did right now, but instead gave like 200%, but like post match. I don't know. Then it'd actually be like not a straight downgrade.
Yeah. Seeing like what is it right now? It doubles your
50%.
blood point gain, or is it 50%?
No,
okay,
it's
so if
50%.
it was
You
like
don't even get
50%.
double.
if it
and
was
it's
like
only
50%
deviousness.
extra deviousness,
And it's not even like
post-game,
post
that
game.
would be pretty cool.
It's not even post game. It's like mid.
I know, but if it was, I'm
Dumb.
saying that's
Yeah, I think they should change all those. Every like perk and add-on that gives you more blood points, they should just change them to post game. Honestly, like there's no point in giving you more blood points if you're gonna hit
because
the cap
you-
anyway.
Right.
You don't even pip anymore through points.
Yeah, that too.
Victory
yeah, so,
cube. Okay, I'm sorry.
Not like this.
Not my killer. Yeah. So that was the meme limiter. we got the long guide bar, which slightly increases the reach of the chainsaw attack. I don't even know if this does anything.
Yeah, dude, does that? I kind of wanted to get there. Does that do anything?
Long
I
guide
think the
bar.
windows.
Yeah.
Long guide bar is for Billy not as useful anymore. It was godlike when you could flick because it's like almost double the reach of your chainsaw attack. You
It
pull
all
some
comes back to
stupid
the
shit.
flick. God
The
damn
only
it.
well, because this is the Billy talk. How am I not gonna talk about it?
I agree with you.
The one thing that it did do, which was pretty funny, and this is like the one use of the speed limiter before they changed the combine harvester. But the combine harvester used to be safe for melee attacks if you were standing at the bottom of it. But if you had long guide bar, you could hit people up there. It was pretty funny one-shotting them with it. So if they were being a toxic survivor combine harvester abuser, you could down them anyways, unless they had a brain and vaulted over or whatever. It is what it is. You can kind of use it to hit people through windows more effectively.
Yeah.
Outside of that, it really doesn't have much use. Now, I will say, it's definitely a lot different. Are we talking about Cannibal Man at all now?
He's coming up after this.
Okay. It has use for him, but yeah, for Billy, because for whatever reason, Billy loses his legs after the end of a chainsaw sprint and can't turn to look around. It doesn't have much use currently.
I would say it's more of like I have a chance to get lucky add-on, like just some extra reach for that one that you try to go for the shack window chainsaw, you know, as they're vaulting through it. That's what I would say this perk is for. Again, very, very niche in my opinion, but very good if it works out for you.
If I'm gonna be perfectly honest, I've never even noticed. Like, I get some like long ass like spaghetti chainsaws without long guide bar, and then with long guide bar, sometimes I'll miss ones that I feel like I should get. I honestly, I don't think it does anything. Maybe it's just like placebo to me. I'm not sure, but I really honestly. It doesn't feel like it does anything to me.
It definitely does increase the range of your chainsaw attack. Like it's been proven, but
Okay, well,
effectively no. I think you're right. It doesn't do much for you as killer. It used to be insane, but not so much anymore.
It's really only useful at Windows right now.
Pretty much.
Just give us like an ultra rare add-on, like in this fashion, and it's just a rope, and at the end of the charge, he just tosses the chainsaw and reels it back in.
I dig it.
Chainsaw on the rope. Hell yeah.
That's what the flick was.
No.
I mean, there's a clip of me, and this is probably and obviously a bug, but when I'm running double doom engravings, I essentially my model flies through. I don't know if you guys saw this, but it went through a window and hit a
I've
Jake.
actually seen that clip.
It was almost like it was almost like I had a long guide bar. So fuck long guide bar. Just run double doom engravings. Easy.
Yeah,
Just
I
go
agree.
so fast you go through the window.
Velocity.
Yeah, there you go.
Alright. Next add-on. We got the Grizzly Chains, which moderately decreases the repair speed of survivors injured by the chainsaw. We got the Rusted Chains, which considerably increases the healing time of survivors injured by the chainsaw. And then we got the Grab Chains, which slightly decreases the repair speed on survivors injured by the chainsaw until healed, and considerably increases the healing time of survivors injured by the chainsaw. These used to stack. I don't think they do anymore.
Do they not stack anymore?
I don't think they do.
Really? I haven't ran chains in like a year, so I really don't.
Sad boys.
Oh, chains never stacked.
They
never stack?
You could hit
apply
someone multiple
stacks?
times. Yeah, you
Yeah.
could apply the debuff multiple times. Thank God that was fixed. It was ridiculous.
So wait, so you're telling me?
By the way.
So you're
You
telling
could
me
never
that all
stack
those
them.
times I ran purple and green, it didn't do anything? I was just
Oh,
those
were-
purple.
I mean-
Yeah. The
My
whole
whole
time.
Billy
The whole
career
time.
has been a
Ever
lie.
since release, it has done
This has been a lie.
nothing.
Oh
It was
my
just
God,
that
I'm
strong.
done, man.
Rusted Chains was
I'm done
just
with
that
DBD.
strong. It was so powerful for reducing healing rate. People thought, wow, this guy has to run 2 chains for that ridiculous effect. No, that's just Rusted Chains, baby. It's just that strong. Double chains never did anything. improved. Fun fact though, the what is it? The generator regression one. I think it was like if you applied that 10 times and a survivor repaired a generator, it would go backwards.
Yeah, that was always
that's
fun.
been fixed.
Yeah, that one.
That was a
fun.
part of the stacking. Yeah.
But in terms of just the add-ons in general, super strong. Good for general pressure. Takes survivors longer to heal. Takes them longer to do gens.
Yep.
You know,
It's
just overall good attrition.
all you need is rusted chains. The generator repair decrease isn't all that significant. Like green chains are about as good as the purple chains.
Yeah,
that healing decrease is like probably the best time efficiency buff any killer can receive in the game.
Yeah, I also think it counters super well, or sorry, it goes really well with things like thanatophobia and Nurse's Calling and stuff. Like I think if you run stuff like that, you could also. Yeah, or slugging if you want. You got the good old knockout perk now. You can put on knockout, Nurse's Calling, and Deerstalker, and green chain.
Get the rusted chain to slug them all. Yeah.
Slug them all. Survivors will have a good old time.
Them motor rushers ain't motor rusher now.
Like if you're running, and I guess this is bringing up a perk before we should, but just as a quick point for like map pressure, if you're running barbecue and chili and you can see survivors off in the distance and you see 3 survivors doing various tasks, if you see one healing for a long time and one doing a generator, you can basically pick and choose. Do I want to go for a chase or do I want to stall the gens more? Which, you know, that add-on just helps you make that decision. You know, that person's going to be healing a lot longer, or that person doesn't have decreased gen repair speed, stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you're right, that makes sense. It's also just, you know, begrimed chains only slightly decrease the repair speed, and it only lasts until you're healed. So, yeah,
sure, right.
Pretty
Is that how Rusted Chains works now?
I think it's the whole game. No, it's the whole game.
No, I meant begrimed chains. The repair speed debuff only lasts until you're healed.
The repair speed's only until you're healed.
Yeah.
Really?
Okay, just run green chains, folks.
Just run the green fucking begrimed chains.
Yeah.
Garbage.
I actually didn't know that, so yeah.
Get that shit out of here.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I need to run this add-ons more.
It says right here on the wiki, so you know. The more you know.
I think that slugging situation you described, where Rusted Chains affects, like, I'm pretty sure it still does affect recover speed and then healing speed when you're on the ground. It's just such an unfun scenario to be in.
It is, yeah, I agree. I don't want to like encourage that because that sucks as a survivor. Where there's like 3 people on the ground and it takes like an hour to heal them all, and it's a mess.
I wish
it works.
Just...
It's like the you know the game design allows for this. The recover change, I think, was a misdirected change to help deal with survivors being down and then left on the ground with rusted chains, when in reality I think the change we should have seen was rusted chains not affecting healing someone off of the ground or recovery speed. I don't know.
We got going on the next add-on.
Yeah.
We're going with the depth gauge rake.
Depth gauge.
Depth gauge. It's gauge.
Yeah, it's gauge.
It's
I got
gauge.
you, buddy.
Gauge. Gauge. Oh fucking hell. Depth gauge rake. Moderately reduces the time penalty when bumping into objects. And we get the light chassis, which slightly reduces the reach of the chainsaw attack and considerably reduces the time penalty when bumping into objects.
Bump Billy's fucking dope.
Bumpability.
Yeah, it's Bump Billy. Basically, you put on 2 add-ons, and then every time you bump into anything, you just immediately connect again. It's great. You just go around bumping into everything. It's wonderful. It's not. I don't think
it's slightly less effective now with the recent changes.
It's
because
one of
the
still
really fucking good.
One of the recent changes
Still
actually
really
was
good.
that Hillbilly doesn't like do that stun sound anymore when he runs into things.
Oh, what was it, like 1 or 2 patches where you bumped into an object and went, ah!
He go,
That was so annoying.
Get there.
The same patch that
Jesus Christ.
Jesus.
My God.
That's
It was
how I
like the same
feel
patch
playing
that
Hillbilly.
brought back
Okay, I'm sorry.
getting completely stunned when bumping into an object.
No, yeah.
So I think that was like 1.5.
I would say if you're starting off with Hillbilly, if you're having trouble hitting survivors with the chainsaw, this is a great training wheels perk or training wheels add-ons to run, just to make it a little easier on you if and when you do miss, you know?
I would argue get used to not bumping into shit.
Yeah.
I would argue if you're trying to learn the chainsaw, don't use any add-ons.
Sure. I mean, I would argue just like, what is the point of the perk or the add-ons then? You know what I mean? Like if we want to go for like an ideal thing of don't miss chainsaws, then just don't fucking run these add-ons ever. You know what I mean?
I think what it comes down to is it's an alternative chainsaw cooldown. So there's the two chainsaw cooldowns. There's bumping into an object, and then there's just swinging and missing. I'm pretty sure if you stack max cooldown and then you swing and miss, your chainsaw cooldown is longer than if you were to bump into an object and then have the reduce time penalty. So it's you can use it while moving around the map, bump into an object, and then have really fast chainsaw cooldown. So I wouldn't say it's useless.
It has its place. That's all the add-ons. Oof.
Woohoo!
Oof.
Hooray.
Oof. We got best cosmetics for
all two
clean
of them.
weapon, always bloody torso, clean pants. If you run Sparkle Billy, I guess that's respectable. But they added the same patch to their mood flicks, so I never forget.
Never
It's all about shiny pants, dude. Shiny pants.
I'm a Sparkle Billy gamer. Sorry.
I don't have
I'm a
shiny pants.
shiny pants, shiny hammer, bloody top. That's me.
Oh, shiny
You're all
hammer.
dead to me.
Oh,
Get
God,
out of
bro.
here.
No,
What the
I don't
fuck?
want to. I might be leaving now.
Come on, guys!
I
Don't hate on the sparkle hammer. Come on.
Guy, I mean, I don't have any legacy cosmetics for Billy, so I just run Communist Billy, which is bloody pants, bloody hammer, and the scarecrow.
Nice.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Billy.
There's nothing wrong with that. Communist Billy actually isn't like everything bloody, because the scarecrow actually has a noose around its neck, and I think that's how most Russians felt during the communist era.
Jesus.
Sorry, so sorry.
What about Gay Bar Billy, where you rock sparkly
fuck
everything,
that.
and then like the cowboy outfit?
Fuck that one. I hate Gay Bar Billy. So it looks so
Yeah.
bad.
Me too.
Fabulous. It looks
everyone ran
fabulous.
Everyone ran it when it first came out. I think it's the ugliest thing ever, dude. So
So
disgusting.
shitty. What about the fuck? What is it called? We got that like event hammer, and then the doll hammer, which has like a meat thing on the side that makes meat tender, and then we've got the marked spike maul. Yeah, I think the marked spike maul looks pretty shitty. Not gonna
They're
lie.
both pretty bad.
I only like the original. Yeah.
The brutal cattle hammer. That's actually what it's called.
Whoa. I like the default hammer, man. It looks so clean, feels so clean, so good.
I just like those.
The bloody one is like,
tendrils around the bloody ones.
I think all the bloody weapons are pretty bad.
Keep your shit
like
clean,
them.
man.
I like them.
I mean, if you like them, that's fair. Because I mean, they kind of wanted people to like them. That's why they made them as the prestige rewards, right? I'm just an advanced gamer. Pretty soon, I'm gonna be running nothing but like just the default customization for all killers.
You're like the faker of Dead by Daylight.
And then eventually, I'll start running like the All Hallows eyes and start fucking fooling people into thinking I'm retarded because I'm like glowing yellow. But
Yeah, I love the All Hallows eyes.
Yeah, I love
Damn
them
it,
too.
they're so
It
cool.
looks so good on all the killers.
I think
Yeah,
it looks.
I like
I
'em.
mean,
Don't get me wrong,
looks
it does look-
awful.
It looks kind of derpy, but I like it.
I think that's
just-
the proper word. It makes the killer look stupid. It's cool how they glow, but like I think if you see someone rocking All Hallows eyes, you know that they're gonna be whiffing all their chainsaws.
It's just, I like them. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about, but like those memes where people put those glowing eyes over people, and then they go like, "Be gone,
Ascended.
fot." I think I like them because of that.
I never thought about it like that. I hope this Halloween we can get red eyes for that.
Oh yeah, dude. Give us
Red
the
eyes.
red eyes.
When you kick a pallet, your eyes glow red.
That'd be kind of dope.
That'd be awesome. Or like no. Imagine like this. We need like the All Hallows eyes, but like 0 sacrifices they don't glow. 1 sacrifice they glow yellow.
Fucking
2
kill streak.
sacrifices they glow fucking orange, and then 3
Kill
sacrifices
streak, dude.
you're like the last
That's
guy
what
alive,
we
and he's like
need.
red eyes. He's like, yeah,
We need kill
I'm
streak.
gonna
because
kill you.
we're Dead by Daylight, dude.
dude. Fucking,
One
yeah, the
flashlight
TF2
blind,
kill
your
streaks,
eyes
like,
go a
oh.
little bit, and then I like fucking 7 blinds. You're transcended. Your whole head is just a light bulb.
God
Just
damn
like
it.
a little announcement at the top. Oh.
And then I can check my I can check my customizations to see how many times I've hit people with my hammer. Number of
Yeah.
pallet stuns tanked on my pants.
Strange hammer.
Exactly.
We
All right,
need it.
enough of this shit. Let's move on.
Get
Sorry,
out of here.
but-
All right,
Let's fucking get a move on.
Let's get out of here.
get out of here. We got Billy's spastic cousin to talk about.
Yeah.
We got Yeehaw! We got Jedediah Jer Sawyer,
Controller Billy.
also known as the Cannibal, or Leatherface if you watch the movies.
Dude, that seems to be what he is. He's controller Billy, man. He's
he's
totally controller Billy.
controller Billy. Oh god, yes. Lore. What's this lore? It's like.
What is his lore? I actually don't know.
Should I just read
Are
the
we
whole
gonna
thing?
watch
mean, like,
all the
I-
fucking
I'm actually,
Texas
because
Chainsaw
nobody
I know
knows
the lore
movies
from
now?
the movies, but like, what did the game come up with?
All right,
Won't we get Tofu banned if we like watch that shit?
Yeah, probably.
Probably.
I've actually seen some clips, like, just because I was curious. Okay, let me just read, because that's actually okay. Oh god. Whether killers perform their heinous acts by compulsions of the diseased minds, or if they are forced into them by external pressures, has long been a matter of debate. But for one killer, nature and nurture are inextricably linked. Leatherface kills not from a desire to exert his will over others, to satisfy counter urges, or even to quiet the voices in his head. He kills because he's scared. Scared that the others will hurt him. Scared that his family will be displeased with him. Scared that their shared willingness to eat human flesh will be discovered. He does as he is told, his family loves him, and that is all that matters. Outsiders are a threat, and threats need to be dealt with. Like those kids that came into the house uninvited. Walked in like they owned the place. Looked around the house, trying to find out his family's secrets, no doubt. But Leatherface deals with them, protects his family, just as he's been taught. He's not just protector, he has many roles, and each role has its own face. He serves dinner, cares for the family, dresses well when they eat. His grandpa and ma used to care for them all, but grandpa, he is old now. And she has been still for a while, so Leatherface and his brothers had to take over. Family is everything to him. Family is security and safety. But, even though he did his best, one of the kids got away. He tried to stop her, chasing after her as fast as he could, but she had help. Another outsider driving a truck. The evil trucker killed his brother, ran him over like he was a possum. In a fury, Leatherface leapt at him, the saw ready to avenge his family, but the trucker was too quick. He knocked Leatherface aside and turned his own saw against him. As he watched the outsiders driving away, the rage, grief, and pain combined with the worry about what would happen to his family now. They would surely return with the police, and the police would take his brother as his grandpa. Without them, what would he do? Without their commands, he would wither and die. As his world collapsed, Leatherface spun in circles, swinging the saw all around, trying to fight off the myriad external threats that surrounded him. Then another feeling overtook him.
Dude.
It came from the outside.
GG.
What?
I was saying GG to that.
Oh.
Also, chat saying you're a better voiceover than Makote, so you might want to think about that. Have him hire you.
That's,
Yeah, you should
I'm
look
on-
at that. I agree.
just like
PHP are hiring members of the community. Get me in there.
Hell yeah. Alright, then another feeling overtook him. It came from outside his vision, crawling over his skin with cold dread. He realized that no matter what outsiders could do to him, there was something worse, something bigger that lived in the shadows. He was filled with a terror unlike any he had ever felt before, but it was almost comforting, like the fear he had felt with his family, the fear of disappointing them. He was brought to a place that was familiar but unknowable, and he instinctively knew what he had to do. He couldn't fail it the way he had his family. Outsiders would come, but he would use his skills to overcome any threats. There would be screaming, but he could make the world quiet again, until the only sound remaining was the blessed howl of the saw. Let the outsiders come.
Dude, beautiful story time with Atro. I love it.
That's pretty sick lore, though. Like, I haven't watched the fucking movies, but that's pretty cool lore. Not gonna lie. Yeah.
Oh, alright. Are we talking about how bad he is now?
We're gonna talk about how good his perks are, actually.
Wait.
Shit.
Wait, if we're on lore right now, lore, I just want to take a second to say that it's kind of cool that they got Leatherface in the game. Just from a lore perspective, I think that's kind of awesome to have an iconic killer in the game. That's what I want to say about that.
To my knowledge, behavior in the past has had a lot of success. I think it's kind of part of the reputation where they do a lot of licensed deals for video games. So them making a horror game and then also being able to get all these licensed, horror characters or horror slashers, it just kind of beautifully goes hand in hand. So it's definitely awesome to see Leatherface as an addition to the game, and I wouldn't be surprised if he was not the last licensed killer to make his way into.
When are we gonna just kick Friday the 13th in the game and get Jason in the game?
I wouldn't be surprised if we did see Jason in the game at some point.
I'm not sure actually. I mean,
like if there's a new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie coming out, right?
Oh yeah, but it looks so bad.
It
looks so awful. Not gonna lie.
Well, I'm saying if they do make another Friday the 13th movie, I mean, we could see Jason as a promo, perhaps.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely within the realm of possibility here, I think.
Yeah.
I honestly, I mean, this might be unpopular opinion here. I actually don't like the movie killers and like the pre. I think their original creations are like miles better than all like the things that they get from movies and stuff. Like, I don't know. Like, I think Leatherface is cool or whatever, and Myers is okay, but like all their original I think that's like one. I think that's one of the places that these devs shine is in their creation. Dude, like Trapper and like Hillbilly.
I think
and, like,
Trapper
all these
is
killers,
better than Jason.
Yeah, dude, Trapper is fucking sick, dude. He is such a sick killer. Like, he looks so cool. It's such like an awesome design. I think that's where like they shine. And I don't want them to like just rip off other things. And I mean, I guess it's not ripping off things because like people like them and people like seeing, you know, killers from their favorite movies and stuff. But still, I don't know. I'd love to see more original creations because they do such a good job at it. You know.
I agree. That's something where I will never ever be able to not be sure on anyway, because their character design, their visual design, even a lot of the times the sound design is just it's on point.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, it's fucking perfect.
When this guy first came out, right, which was what 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I always try to have like a nice. Was it yesterday?
Yeah, it will come
out. I don't know.
Friday. Oh,
give or take some hours. When this guy came out, I was shocked. Right?
I thought he was a bully skin.
Well, it was crazy, right? Because little over a month ago, we already got a new killer, and like it was just kind of like
it was like kind of nowhere.
In my opinion, it was kind of out of like nowhere. It was just like, oh wow, this is like really really cool. I wanted to look at it from like an additive sort of perspective because it's just like we're getting more content. If people don't like to play the killer, that's fine. But I think like I'll be honest here, I haven't actually seen a lot of the Texas Chainsaw Massacres. I just want to appreciate the fact that they were able to get them in. I think it's kind of cool. I think that the fact that they've gotten new content in a little over a month on release of a new killer, which was an original creation of them. I just think it's nice, you know. I just think just at its base level, you know, we have another killer to play with. And I think it's a good killer for people to start out with because he is very easy to use, in my opinion.
Yeah, he also has some really good perks as well.
Yeah, I love the perk.
He can take some finesse, but yeah, he's pretty easy.
I would argue that for a game styled like Dead by Daylight, you can't make the free content argument. Why are you complaining? Kind of deal. I'm not sure if that's exactly the route you were taking. Now, in some games where if they do add like an optional mission or an optional level or characters that you can choose to not play as, then yeah, you can definitely bring that to the table. But in Dead by Daylight, if they add a new killer that is really unenjoyable to play against and you're playing Survivor, sometimes you don't have the choice. You can't just, if you really, really, really hate playing against the new content, you can't just avoid it.
Right.
It is now in the game, and it is now something you have to deal with. So that's, I don't know if I can support that argument.
So that begs the question, you might be alluding to that. Do you enjoy playing against this killer as a Survivor?
I have not played against him yet, so I can't say anything.
He's pretty. It's kind of black and white with whether or not you're going to die or not when you're playing against him. Like against Billy, you can still kind of have a chance and make some really fun plays. Juking his chainsaw, but there's no once he's revving and you're out in the open, there's no counterplay around it. You can't do anything with it.
Yeah, I agree. It's kind of, it takes away from the fun of being able to like juke out the chainsaw. Like even if you juke it, he just turns and follows you and gains speed, and there's nothing you can do. Like you're just fucked.
Yeah.
I've been playing against him a lot, and I've yet to go up against a good one, but the ones that I have gone up against, I mean,
I think
it's not terribly hard to just keep your distance.
And, yeah, for sure.
But I mean, once you're caught in the open, you're pretty fucked because they have full mobility, full control over their chainsaw.
Like in the late game, when like most of the pellets are gone,
are definitely where.
God.
Yeah, that's what I was about to get into.
Where the issue is that's the only time I've ever eaten a chainsaw by this guy, is unless I'm just walking around.
Well, I just did that. I just did that playing a game while in this podcast. I just went and saved someone. We just both got insta-downed.
Yeah.
Feels bad.
Not a whole lot
my fault, though.
Other than run borrowed time.
Yeah.
And even then, he's going to proc the time on both of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he does kind of... He supports the borrowed time meta. Like, he pushes it farther into the game as a staple of the game's mechanics. And I don't think that's what any of us want to see, but that's what's happening.
No.
The only way to really unhook against him if he decides to stick around is borrowed time. It's the only way.
And even then...
Of course, even then, he sets you out on the bleed out. But that's the only way you can get away if he's around the hook. So it just, once again, it's just... We're digging the grave deeper.
And recently, borrowed time was also nerfed, so...
Oh, yeah.
How is it nerfed?
It's just the numbers went down, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, how long it takes to trigger.
It's 25%. It's 25 seconds at max rank now until you completely bleed out.
Yeah, down from like 40, I think. And I think also after you unhook, you have like 15 seconds to get hit now instead of like 20 or something like that.
Yeah, it's like 15 from 20.
Actually, that's why I have DVD open. I can check that right now.
Do check it out. That's still. I think
borrowed
that
time.
doesn't fix anything.
Change borrowed time's proc timer from 20 to 15 seconds. Change bleed out timer from 30, 35, 40 to 15, 20, 25.
That does nothing. The perk is still ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree.
People
doesn't fix the issue with the perk.
Yeah, people make suggestions like, okay, maybe have borrowed time only proc on one person, or maybe have it, maybe have the time go down. These are all half measures for a perk that is ultimately causing a lot of problems separately. Unless you absolutely destroy the perk, it's still going to be causing these problems. I don't think with the way Dead by Daylight functions, because Dead by Daylight really does function on such fine lines, and if you cross that line, you're gonna throw everything out of whack. Like, if you have a loop that is just the right amount of length for the killer to be able to vault the wind and chase you through, then he'll catch up. But if you remove like one object on that loop, it's such a fine line. And yeah, I don't know. You have to you can't have perks like this in the game if you want to see balance.
I don't know if I've talked to you about this, but a lot of people talk about the borrowed time rework being something like the person that you unhook receives borrowed time, but you don't. What do you think about that?
I mean,
actually think I made that suggestion before too.
I think of it more as like a guardian angel. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I don't think that a perk should be required to unhook.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
I think it's a half measure to the real problem, which is killers can block all unhook interaction by standing in front of the hook, and killers can freely hit people being unhooked. So the most appetizing target for the killer will probably always be the person being unhooked. Even if borrowed time does receive that kind of change, the person that's unhooking is going to take 2 hits anyways if he's at full health. I don't know, man.
All right.
No, I hear you.
We went down quite the rabbit hole there.
Yeah, what are we talking about?
Perks.
The cannibal?
I think we kind of already touched on everything with the new killer. What else is there to say?
We could go over the perks and like the free add-ons he has.
Perks, let's do it.
Alright, perks. We got the first perk. We got Knockout. The trauma caused by your brutal attacks makes crying for help painfully difficult. Dying survivors' auras are not revealed to other survivors when they are standing outside of a 32, 24, 60 meter range. Quote, "Oh, that gun's no good. The old way, with a sledge. You see, that's way better. They die better that way." End quote.
That my feelings kind of summed up entirely. Is it good? It can be. It can be really good. Is it fun? Maybe as killer.
No.
As survivor, is it fun? Is this a fun perk to play against? Let's give it a second or two. I gotta formulate an opinion. It's taken me a moment. I don't know. How do we feel?
This is pretty good for slugging, and nobody likes slugging.
I remember when slugging was good. I remember when I wasn't hated for leaving people on the ground for 2 seconds. Remember when you could pick someone up on the ground if the killer was there? I do. 99% taps. I remember those. Where'd they go?
Fuck slugging.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't yet, but I feel like we're gonna start running into a lot of fun nurses that are gonna be running like slugging perks and also knockout, and yeah, that's gonna be. I'm not looking forward to it. I know it's coming. And I haven't seen one yet, but I know it's coming. Yeah, soon.
Get ready. No, I think this perk is going to begin that era that you just described, the slugging meta, because slugging is fucking back, baby. Decisive strike still exists. Borrowed time still exists. If you can down people and it takes them significantly longer to pick them up off the ground than if you were to hook them, because if they're on the ground, they need to be healed. They need to be found. And then you can stack other things. Like if you throw on rusted chains or whatever, dude, that guy's going to be on the ground for a significant amount of time. And you also don't have to deal with bullshit like borrowed time or decisive strike. Unbreakable, I mean, maybe people will start running it, but it's not going to really matter that much because you can just down them again with another M1. I don't know. It's picking someone up, walking them to a hook, hooking them, and then having to deal with all the bullshit on the way. So like the potential for being stabbed by decisive strike, and then after they've been unhooked, they can tank all these health states. Ridiculous. It's so, I think in the current meta, like actual meta of the game, it is so much more time efficient as killer to down someone and just leave them there.
I have a rework idea for this perk that I would like to see it act as a reverse third seal, where the hooked aura of the survivor could like not even be known. I think that's really powerful too. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if you don't know where the hook survivor is, because when people get downed by this perk, it throws me out. I'm just like, where the fuck is this guy? You know what I mean? Like I don't know where on the map this guy is. And it actually makes you go search for the hook. Whereas slugging's kind of boring, but I don't know.
Maybe make it...
I've heard the potential reworks. I don't know.
You
I
know,
think
I
that's
don't
more
wanna
of a
see any
third
of that,
seal
I don't know.
thing.
I don't think any of this
More
would
than-
create for fun gameplay. I think maybe the only thing that would be kind of interesting, maybe just as like a novelty, would be if Knockout actually impaired the survivor you hit. It messed with their vision or their hearing or something.
That
That'd be
would be
kinda
cool. That's what they should do.
There
That
was,
actually
like,
sounds
I've
fun.
So like no tear radius or
seen on
something?
the-
If you
subreddit.
hit someone down on the ground, maybe their vision is like fading in and out. Maybe they can't hear anything. I don't know, just something along those lines. It would kind of give them less information once they've been down to be able to like help out the other survivors. And then it also affects their ability to like crawl anywhere. I think it would be really novelty. It would be really novelty. But seeing a survivor crawl into walls as killer might be kind of funny. And then it would definitely be interesting to see all the I don't know. I think the design of the perk is god awful. I think it's terrible. I think it doesn't cater to any fun gameplay. Is it
Right.
something we haven't seen in game? Yeah, but we need to be working towards better gameplay, and I don't think it's a step in the right direction.
I do.
Step backwards.
I just want to see. I like the concept of aura removal. Like I like aura perks.
Oh yeah,
So,
I
I want to see more perks like that. So that's why I'm saying like as a rework concept. But yeah, it promotes slugging too much.
Hmm.
if it can create interesting gameplay scenarios, why not? Right?
Yeah, I
Right,
agree.
right.
I think they also just need to be careful and not add in perks that are gonna really fuck up the fun of the game, you know? Because I feel like it all comes back to that. This game isn't for fun game, you know. This isn't like a competitive esport game we're playing. This game is for fun, you know. And if they're adding too many
Yeah.
things that takes away from the fun, no one's gonna fucking play it, you know.
Why, we have to come back at. I mean, you can say, well, there's counters around it, whatever. At the end of the day, why do you play video games? Why would you sit down in front of it? You want to enjoy yourself, however that is.
Well,
If you're arguing
Personally,
against
I like to just lay on the ground in a video game. I just like laying and bleeding on the ground. So
Same.
this
That's
perk
why
is
I play
great.
video games,
I'm
same.
after I'm after that Dead by Daylight horror experience.
Dude, why just?
We want to
why-
know how
why-
the
why should
survivors
I-
feel when they're on the ground crippled.
Why should I go to bed when I can just lie on the ground in Dead by Daylight? Why should I go lie on my bed when I can
I actually
lie
boot
in
up
the
a Kill Your
grass?
Friends lobby and down myself in Dead by Daylight before going to sleep.
Yeah, same. It helps me sleep.
Hell yeah. Dude.
Thank
I
God
have
for
to-
Dead by Daylight.
My IRL and my in-game L have to be in sync, otherwise it throws my feng shui off.
Oh yeah. Like when I go to school, I don't like ride a bike. I just grab a chainsaw and sprint there.
Yeah.
That's what I do. I just arrive at school with a chainsaw, and he was just looking at me. I don't care.
They're like, this is fine.
This is okay.
Woodworking is
I-
my favorite class.
Oh yeah. Woodworking.
Okay, so that's that perk, right? That's
Yeah, I also
knockout.
wanted to say some about the perk because I've seen some clips from the movies. I think this perk and Franklin's, definitely Franklin's mind, but also this perk, they're kind of inspired by some scenes of the movie, because there is a scene in the movie where Leatherface just smacks someone on the back of the head with a hammer, and they like try screaming for help, but they can't. They go like all spastic and start. I don't fucking know. It's a pretty
Oh, that
weird
scene in the first was
Yeah.
fucking brutal.
That was so brutal because he like tries to scream and then nothing comes out. And he like starts spazzing
Like,
out.
They don't show the death of the guy, but when he slams the door, it's like, all right, I don't think he's getting out alive.
He's fucking done.
Jesus.
He like
Game over.
he grabs like the twitching, almost dead guy into the fucking walk-in fridge and then just slams the door shut. Such a brutal scene. Holy crap.
Right. Okay,
on
so
to-
for that perk, for knockout, I would probably say a thumbs down. I like the aura aspect, but slugging, no
good
fun.
idea, bad execution.
Agreed. I think altogether, was not happy when I saw that perk was a thing.
But
Gotta
then
say.
again, there's always like twists in life. Next to the probably one of my new favorite killer perks in the game, barbecue and chili. I actually
That's
first
right.
read this as barbecue and chill.
I still say it sometimes. so I'm
Barbecue and
perfectly
chill.
honest. Yeah, it sounds so much better. It's like Netflix and chill, but barbecue.
You know,
and chill.
the best part is also because like the first line is a deep bond with the entity.
Oh yeah, going to that barbecue and chill with the
Deep
entity.
bond.
Hell yeah. Right, a deep bond with the entity unlocks potential in one's aura reading ability. After hooking a survivor, all other survivors' auras are revealed to you for 4 seconds. If they are further than 52, 46, and 40 meters from the hook. Grants 100% bonus blood points on any scoring event when a survivor is on the hook. Quote, and I'm not doing that again. It's a pretty weird quote anyways.
Dude, this perk though.
It has
Alright.
such potential to be better
It's
with
like
the scoring events.
I think it's what I see in this perk I saw in Devour Hope, and then on Devour Hope, what I wanted to see out of the perk, I think they dropped the ball. Overall, they made an interesting perk, I guess, but for me, what I was hoping Devour Hope would be is an alternative goal for killers. So instead of just hooking and sacrificing people, what you would try to do is you would try to down people a certain number of times, and then after that you'd be able to mori people. And I like that alternative kind of objective. But then they tied it to a totem, so like all the survivors have to do is M1 your totem, and you have to camp it. And I don't like the totem dynamic to the gameplay.
Agreed.
I feel I like this perk, being able to see other survivors after you've hooked someone does a lot to your gameplay. So like you might want to start hooking people on the outside of the map so you have more coverage of the map of people you can see. I don't know. I also like it's pretty obvious what they're trying to do. They're trying to encourage killers to leave the hook. So this is one of those kind of anti-camping perks. And I think something like that is a good idea. I think it's definitely a good idea to encourage more aggressive gameplay. I think if they want to see that in the game, they need to change a lot more mechanics other than the hook scenario. Playing outside of the hook scenario needs to be more rewarding, because right now playing as a killer, there's nothing more rewarding than just sitting in front of the hook and watching them run at you. There really isn't. So I don't know. Things I'd like to see is I'd like to see the blood point gain somehow, some way, make its way into a post-game bonus, so that way you can equip it as kind of like a hard more get more blood points kind of perk. I don't know. Thoughts?
I do want to mention one aspect. What if you don't see anybody?
What?
Like
What
if
if
you
you
hook a
don't
guy and then
see
you
anybody?
don't see anybody.
Like barbecue and chili, right? This is something that gets brought up like every day since this perk has been released in stream. I hear this perk encourages camping to a degree. If you don't see anybody, then that means they're close to you, ready to save, which, yeah, I kind of understand, but at the same time, that gives you more time to go get gens done, like go regress them and stuff like that,
What's the range at rank 3?
54?
40
Oh, is
meters.
it 40?
That's, I mean, if
thought
you can
it
get a
was
feel for
54.
what that range is,
That's a little bit more than entire radius on most killers. Oh, fuck.
you do your quick check around the hook, and then you can start doing wider patrol. I mean,
Right.
I don't know if it encourages camping so much.
I don't think it does.
I hear what you're saying, and I think that's a really valid concern.
Yeah.
Dude, just
Yeah,
play
I do
trapper,
agree. But
Play
I
trapper.
also
hook someone and then just keep putting down traps and picking them up. You get double blood points.
oh my god, disgusting. I just feel like it at least encourages them to like not straight up face camp, like the whole extra points on the hook. If you know people are nearby, then sure you could like go hunt them or whatever, but it gives you more incentive to actually hunt them and catch them and even like hit them and let them unhook, or like rather than just standing there and blocking the action of the save, because that's what drives me nuts is whenever they just stand there and don't even allow the unhook. It at least gives you incentive to hit the guy and get the blood and then get the double blood points and maybe even chase him down.
If the double blood points was tied to like maybe like how kind of We're Gonna Live Forever works, where it's every time you hook a survivor instead, because the way it kind of works right now, it's like you want to stay nearby, make sure the guy's always on the hook, so you get those double blood points.
I think if it was every time you hook a survivor, you get a 25% post game blood point bonus, or just something like that. Running the perk, As Survivor, We're Gonna Live Forever makes more sense because survivors have a lot of goddamn perks that they can swap in and out. So it's not as big of a deal. You can still drop pallets and vault windows if you're running We're Gonna Live Forever. As killer, you feel a lot more restricted in the perk choices that you have. But I think that it makes up for that with giving you the auras of survivors that are far away, so you can actually start a chase somewhere else on the map. So I think they have a good idea here. I don't think the execution was perfect, but I think it's I think it's not. I don't think it's a bad perk.
Yeah. I love this perk. I love this perk because it's you can't. There's no excuse to camp, in my opinion, anymore. With this perk, like if you're looking at it, like this is going to be a whispers replacement on every killer I run.
Oh.
I'll say this. Camping. I don't know, man. I don't think we can be mad at people for camping. Is it not fun to play against? Maybe, but it's something that they have at their disposal and it helps them win the game. So I don't think it's any more something you can blame the player for than, say, pallet looping or window vaulting or just hitting people. Even it's a part of the game. You want, yeah.
But we just had a whole discussion on the concept of slugging, and we all gave it a thumbs down because we were like,
definitely, because we don't think it's fun. Like if you can go out of your way to avoid playing this way in game, then we would appreciate that. But ultimately, the fact that it's possible, that it exists within the game, it comes back to the game design. So whoever at Behavior designed these kinds of things to allow for this kind of gameplay to exist is at fault. Sometimes indirectly, but it's
promoted.
I don't think you can blame the players,
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's mostly the devs. Sorry to interrupt, Gapples. I think it's just mostly the devs for sure.
I just want to say 2 thumbs up for me. I like the perk. And yeah.
Agreed. I think it's probably one of the best perks they've come out recently. I think it's good on most killers. Just in general, the whole like hooking someone and then seeing auras, especially as like a Billy, you can immediately go chase someone, which is more map pressure. Like, I'm going to run it on everybody, and not even just for the blood points. I think even if the blood points like ones that are involved, I would probably still run it. If it was just the throwing people on a hook, and then maybe if the thing was even reduced a little more, I'm probably still going to run it on everybody. I think it's a really, really, really good perk. It's probably my new favorite perk, to be honest.
Yeah, high mobility killers like Nurse and Hillbilly are going to benefit from this so much. Like the amount of map pressure to know where people are and what they're doing because of their aura is huge. It's amazing.
It really is. I don't know if people realize how big that's going to be. It's going to be fucking nutty. You're going to constantly have pressure. There's no more like looking around and wondering where they are. You're going to know exactly where they are.
I've actually like kind of thought about just a what if. Like, I'm not saying this should be a thing. What if this perk was just a baseline thing for killers?
It might be a little too strong, but something similar, maybe. I can see what you mean, like something similar, like something that encourages not camping or whatever as like a baseline would be. I think this particular perk, if you were just to throw this in as it is, what might be a little bit too strong, but I mean, I know what you mean. I think something like that would be cool. Yeah.
Something. Go ahead.
Okay. What I would like to see in this game, just as baseline or reading kind of deal, I think the crow mechanic could be tuned to not only affect AFKers, but players that aren't contributing. So sometimes, after killing people and the hatch isn't available, you'll have people hiding and you can't find them. I think some form of aura reading, or just if survivors aren't working generators or getting closer to finishing the game, the killer should have an idea of where they are. They should be hinted to their location. I don't know. I don't know about this perk being baseline. But yeah,
I mean, I think it would be really, really nice for new players to have this, but I think honestly, I'm gonna say no, Atro. I'm gonna say no to the would it be cool? It would be kind of interesting if that happened. But honestly, going to find survivors, finding them is kind of like, what I like as well, because I don't want total avoidance to be taken away from a survivor. If you do a good job at avoiding a killer, I don't want that to be punished.
Oh
right?
yeah, definitely. But if you're not contributing to the game, then if you're not playing the game, then yeah.
Basically, if you're being immersed, is what you're saying.
Yep,
Doing nothing. Got it.
Yeah. Flare, I see you there in Tofu's chat.
I'm not there.
You're not okay.
That's my cousin.
It's your cousin.
I think it comes back a lot.
My Twitch account. I'm sorry.
That's his cousin. Got one of those things called.
I apologize for his actions.
It's fine. I'm pretty sure Billy has to do some apologizing for the perks that his cousin brought into.
I couldn't stop him. All right, we talk about Franklin's demise?
Yeah, let's move on.
Franklin's demise. Your vicious attacks make the survivors drop their item on impact. The lost item is damaged in the fall, losing 0.5-10% of its base amount of charges. Sally, I hear something. Stop! Franklin Hardesty.
Do not do it. No. Don't do it.
Alright, so I've been playing against this perk all the time.
But this perk, it's also based on a movie scene. It's pretty funny because in the scene, I just want to mention this, because in the scene it's like a guy in a wheelchair and his sister, and he's like holding a flashlight. They're like looking for their friends, and the guy's like, "I hear something. Don't move. And his fucking Leatherface comes out of nowhere and just thrusts his chainsaw in his just fucking kills the guy, and he drops his flashlight, and it's.
But did the wheelchair make it?
Yes, it's actually kind of funny because in the later movies I read that you can see a skeleton in a wheelchair in the background.
That's kind of cool.
Nice. At least it has a happy ending.
Yeah.
Dude,
thank God the wheelchair. We're good.
Alright, this perk though. This perk is fucking annoying. Can we all agree that this perk is annoying as shit? I hate this perk.
It's so fun to use as a killer.
It makes me irrationally angry.
Dude, it does. Same here. Every time I get hit. And I'm like, oh my god, where's my fucking flashlight, dude? What the fuck? I'm not bringing
items anymore. Fuck this.
And then I gotta go on a scavenger hunt for the rest of the goddamn game looking for my flash. It's the worst, dude. I hate it.
Some fucking teammate steals your item.
Dude, there's
a clip on Reddit. Where a guy is down and his medkit's like in the distance, and a Claudette is like running to save him. She runs over the medkit, stops, turns around, picks up the medkit, and runs away.
And then runs away. Yeah.
It's so good.
Doesn't even pick him up.
It's so good. Oh god.
The ultimate BM. I see. Okay,
it's like
all right.
Orange Smog Mag Claudette 2. So good.
Orange Smog. Okay.
Yeah.
I think that
I like it. I like it, but I also don't like it. I like that it makes you drop your item because I think that dynamic existing in the game is really fucking interesting and it allows for some pretty goofy things to happen. Survivors turning on each other is some of the funniest shit you can see in a game. Like I fucking love sandbags, you know? Yeah. And I don't know. That's my opinion. The durability loss. If someone has an item destroyed because we have confirmed that if your item is below 10% and you get hit, it will destroy your item.
That shouldn't be a thing. That's stupid.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I think survivors scrambling back to collect their items is how part of the perk should function. So I would like to see that removed. I don't think they realized how goddamn powerful survivors dropping items would be. Like it's a huge because survivors are fucking greedy, all right? They would never unhook like basically ever if they weren't, but that's just human nature. So they more than likely, if they brought a good item into the game, they're going to go back for it, and that's a huge time sink. They're leaving generators to go get their item, and then the killer can play around this. They can defend the item, so maybe they'll be crouching nearby waiting to grab their item. It's huge. It's massive. So I think the durability loss is definitely unfun, but I like the survivor dropping on it. But I don't know, that's an opinion. How do you guys feel about it?
I love it.
I want to like share an experience. I was playing on Red Shop, and again a orange schmuck Claudette brought an insta-blind, and she died. I think she rage quit actually because I had Franklin's demise. And I made her like drop the flashlight 3 times, and she just rage quit.
That would be me.
And like it ended up the last Dwight ended up abandoning a teammate on the hook to get the flashlight and get the hatch escape. And like the survivor that was abandoned, he was like, dude, what the fuck? He could have totally gotten me. He wasn't camping. And the divider was like, that's a purple flashlight. I don't believe in that shit, dude. The purple flashlight's a purple flashlight. Oh god, that was funny.
Get the loot and get out.
Dude, I mean, honestly, I would probably
I'm not
value.
leaving that shit.
I'd probably value like a green flashlight with double batteries over a teammate. Honestly, I'm guilty, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Good point.
It's true though. I mean, I don't know. Like it is strong. Like when I first heard about it, I was like, that's not gonna do shit. But yeah, like in practice, yeah, people don't want to lose their shit. Like the second I'm out of a chase after I dropped an item, I'm back there like getting down on my hands and knees and scouring through the grass and shit, trying to find where I dropped my flashlight. You know, so I don't know. I think it is pretty good. I think if everyone has items, people are gonna want to keep them. You know.
Hell yeah. The extent that some people actually went to in my games to just get their flashlight back. So funny. Like deliberately leaving a god pallet loop to get back to that place where I made them drop their item and try to get it back.
Holy shit! Can you imagine?
I've done that and I've gotten hit because of it.
What if you set up like a ruin totem, and then you
God.
make survivors drop their items at the totem, hitting them off it, and then you can just funnel them back in? I don't know. It's because what it comes back to is there's only before this there was only two things that you could really bring survivors in. You can only bait survivors in with two things. Number one is generators, because they want to work generators. That's the objective, obviously. And the other is hooked survivors, and that's definitely a much bigger pull. But now you can bring them in for their own items. So it's the number three. I guess totems. I guess you can bait people with totems, whatever. So number four, whatever.
Okay, I'll just talk from like playing killer for a majority of this game and being a streamer. I think having that fair share of 4 survivors coming in with insta blinds, survive with friends sort of deal. You know, this perk is such a punishment to that. Like to bring in, like, I think it's interesting because Lightborn's kind of out and Overwhelming Presence is kind of out. Like I wouldn't run either of those over this new Franklin's Demise, because I can rob you as a survivor of your actual item instead of trying to bait you into consuming all of it. Does that make sense? So
yeah, it's true.
It's also
I don't know. I just like it more of as punishment.
I think it also creates mad pressure too, because like we were saying, they go back for it. So I think it also slows down the game as well. So it not only gets rid of their item and keeps them from using it on you, but it also slows down the game. I think actually significantly. I think it's actually pretty significant how much it slows down the game, to be honest. So
and
yeah,
it also discourages people from. I don't have a problem against body blocking, but like if they know you have Franklin's Demise and they have like an insta blind or a medkit, they're probably not gonna body block for you. Like, no, dude. It's like,
no, I want my fucking medkit, dude.
Right.
Fuck you. Oh, I'm not body blocking.
And also, like, it dicks over syringes and styptic agents so hard.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. So funny.
Okay.
Kind of, I don't think if it's healthy, like, that the counterplay to this perk is to just not bring an item or to just leave your item. But, like, then again...
Don't get hit.
Don't get hit. I would have kind of... I don't know. When I saw
Drop your item
first,
before getting hit and then pick it up after it hits you.
Like, maybe only have it on downs. That's kind of... That takes the fun away from the perk.
Control where you leave your item.
Hell
Make,
yeah.
like... Get together with your survivor friends buddies, and then, like, at the exit gate, leave 4 items. And then when you leave, just grab your item again. I don't know.
I don't know. I would think that this, like, if we're talking counterplay, I think there's a couple perks out there that don't really have a ton of counterplay. Let's take Sloppy Butcher, right? Sloppy Butcher, the only counterplay is, well, don't get hit, and you won't have Sloppy Butcher applied to you.
Nurse counterplays, don't get found.
Right. The reason that people are talking more about counterplay for this is because this is actually good, whereas Sloppy Butcher sucks dick, you know?
It is actually a strong thing, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's fair though, to be honest. I think it's fair. I think if you're gonna take up one of your 4 perk slots just to deal with like a whole team of items, I think that's fair. I mean, you're giving up a perk slot that you could be running, you know, something else crazy. So I don't really think it's a problem, to be honest. Like, I think it's annoying to play against as a survivor or whatever, but I think balance wise, I honestly don't think it's an issue at all. Like you could totally win without if you won, you could just drop your item and then just continue the game without it and do fine. Like I go into most games without items anyway because I died and lost all my flashlights, but you know, still, and I do fine. And you know, you can do fine without it. You don't need items to survive a kill.
Just want to address really quick that Fat in Tofu's chat. Shut up! Don't suggest things like that. That's dirty.
I guess I would say that the counter play to this perk is going back and picking your item back up. That's literally the counter to it, right?
I don't know.
That is it. I don't know.
You
like
lose durability though.
We have to define counter here. Like you say, Sloppy Butcher has no counterplay, but it's not even an issue in the first place. Where being found, you just run away.
Right, and that comes down to the counter of don't get hit, right?
Well, but see, that's the thing is like I mean, previously Bloodlust now, but previously it was entirely, it's almost entirely your fault as survivor if you do get hit. You know, barring some of the newer killers that have come out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyways,
let's crapple over his power. Bubba's chainsaw, an incredibly powerful and heavy chainsaw which sank its teeth into countless victims. A suitable birthday gift for the cannibal. Start a timed sweeping attack on activation. Can hit multiple targets in one chainsaw charge. Running into an object forces the cannibal into a tantrum. This attack damages anyone around him. Automatically puts victims into the dying state on a successful hit. The chainsaw charge won't stop until the user bumps into an object or gets stunned. Wait, what?
So this chainsaw is just like a spaz. Okay, I heard someone in my chat the one day describe it as the hillbilly basically has like a sniper rifle, and this guy has like a shotgun. No. I stole that from Xanthrax. I stole.
He's got a flamethrower, dude.
Yeah, it's like a flamethrower. Exactly. I don't even know if it's a shotgun. It's more like a flamethrower. Yeah, exactly. Like basically, instead of just having like one direct chance to land it where you gotta like aim it right, you know, it's like no, you just pull the trigger and then you just fucking spaz out everywhere, and as long as they're near you, you're gonna chainsaw them, you know. It's really weird. It has like no counterplay as a survivor if you're not anywhere near windows and pallets, and I kind of figured that they did this for like console players. I imagine this is going to be amazing on console. Like console players will probably be running the shit out of this guy because they like if you get juked with their fucking 15 FPS and you know easy fucking Survivor 360s, then they can just you know turn around and get them. So I think it'll be great for console. But as far as like PC goes, it just seems like it's just like a worse version of Billy. Like yeah, it's like a guaranteed chainsaw, but if you're a good hillbilly who can land your chainsaws anyway, then it doesn't really.
Yep.
I don't know.
Right. It takes all the skill out of it. I would say that this killer's in terms of like skill that you need to put in. Once you get a chase mechanic down, if you can get someone into a situation, you have a guaranteed dying state on a survivor. You're not gonna miss unless you
bump into objects because of the camera swipe.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you do a nice circle, you might be able to do a bump into an object. But if you're out in the open, you're fucked. The only thing that I would say that this killer is akin to is like Michael or Billy when they get you into a back rev situation or a tier 3 situation where you can attempt to do a juke to miss the chainsaw or the evil within 3 hit. But with Bubba's chainsaw, honestly, when you're in that situation, you're fucked. You're going down. If you put yourself in that situation, which some survivors may be able to avoid, but it sounds like there's a lot of outrage because some aren't.
I'm just gonna go ahead. This isn't confirmed. I want to try this out in a KYF, but it didn't have the chance. I've heard that crouching completely makes you immune to Bubba's chainsaw until the very end where he does like this little stab at the end.
No way. No
I've-
way. I'm testing that right as soon as we're done with this, and I'm doing.
Yes,
games. We're
that should.
testing that shit.
I've read that
Hang on,
somewhere.
what's going on?
I've read somewhere. This isn't confirmed. That crouching makes you completely immune to Bubba's chainsaw until the very end, where he does that little stab into the ground.
You're joking. I can try that right now. I'm getting chased by a Bubba. I can do it.
Try it.
I'll do it. Ready? Here we go. I'm doing
Just
it, guys.
crouch
Hold on.
into him. Just
No.
Get body.
He's gonna
Crouch,
M1.
get body.
He's gonna
Dude,
M1.
don't hit me. Fucking
He's gonna
chainsaw.
M1.
God damn it. He fucking M1 me, you piece of shit. God damn it. I'm standing still and this guy fucking M1s me. Franklin demises my toolbox. God damn it, guys. This is terrible. This is not what I wanted at all.
Bubba, give
Alright,
me a
I'll try it
fucker.
later on in the game. Later on, I'll let you know.
Alright,
Jeez.
if this is true, I might have just like ruined Leatherface for anyone that likes playing him.
Urban Invasion confirmed best perk in the game.
As soon as this like
Are we
is
suggesting
confirmed.
that Leatherface has actual counterplay?
That's just crazy talk, dude.
Maybe.
Whip out your urban evasions, boys.
No,
I
but
need to
okay.
test this out.
I'll completely abandon
The
that.
designed
killer probably
counterplay
if
is to make them bump into objects so that they
Yes.
get stunned.
Yes.
That is the designed counterplay.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. But if you're in the
crouching,
open,
if crouching literally makes you completely immune, that's dumb.
I'm trying to get it confirmed again. Here we go.
M1.
Nope, confirmed no. Confirmed no. I just
No?
got
Of
fucking
course not.
destroyed. Nope.
What fucking
Check the VOD, boys.
thought this worked? What kind of goofball thought that you could just fucking crouch to avoid the chainsaw?
I
Hello?
thought that was some bullshit,
To
honestly.
be
I-
fair,
yeah.
let me
What?
just defend myself because I've seen a streamer
So I
called
think it's
The
just
Killer.
inconsistent.
The Killer like crouch walk into a Leatherface who was swinging and he didn't get hit. So maybe if you're like right in front of them and you crouch, maybe you can't get hit. But then again, he can just walk backwards and fuck your shit up.
I'll do some advanced testing tonight. Don't worry. I'm doing sub games
Hell
all
yeah.
night, so we'll do some advanced testing. Don't worry about it.
Hell yeah, I'll be there.
But anyway, back on topic. The chainsaw. It's stupid in the basement. I want to say that it's fucking
Oh,
stupid
yeah.
in the basement. Like
Yep.
if a Leatherface throws you in the basement and then just proxy camps, you're fucked. You're completely fucked. Like Borrowed Time can maybe get you out, both of you guys bleeding
But
out in Borrowed
someone's
Time
getting
state.
back down there.
Yeah, and someone's going right back down. Like you're fucked. You're completely fucked, and it's crazy. Like at least with Billy in the basement, like he's strong, but you could at least like try to like juke him, maybe juke out a chainsaw and like sprint burst out, or whatever. Like you can try to get out with skill. But with this, there's no
Just
getting out. You're
mindless. Yeah,
fucked.
mindless.
Yeah, just mindless, just spaz the fuck out and go everywhere and chainsaw everybody. It's crazy. I don't know.
There was another clip on Reddit where a
You can't even
Leatherface
basement or locker
just-
juke this guy.
four-man... Yeah, you can't even lock
Yeah.
juke him.
Can't even
Or a
lock
guy
the
just
juke him.
four-manned...
I saw that clip. It kind of
that was
triggered me.
crazy.
It honestly kind of triggered me watching that guy run down and save those guys without borrowed
That
time.
Claudette
I kinda got a
at
little
the end.
triggered.
That Claudette at the end.
Yeah, they
fucking
ran in.
infuriating. That stupid
Dude,
fucking
yeah.
Claudette who runs down when
Hey,
three
guys,
people are
what's
down,
up?
and she's
Oh,
like,
God. Oh,
he's like,
Jesus.
hey, what's up, guy? What's going? Oh shit! This is fucking dead.
Dude, that clip, I'm not gonna lie.
the
Like,
fuck are
as
you
a-
doing?
Yeah, as like a semi-survivor
Guys, I
player,
hear the
dude.
turn radius. Where's the kill?
Oh.
Oh God, Jesus!
It's a fucking boat. It's just fucking like,
So-
just fucking.
Is it true that you can't counterplay a locker juke? Because
Yes.
if he
yes,
does,
Yeah, you can't.
yes, it is true. No
Well,
counterplay.
Because if he bumps into it, he goes into the
you
like.
get the tantrum, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
which
the
If
tantrum.
you go out,
swing.
he gets done. If you wait out the tantrum, he has enough time to get out of the like small stun to grab you.
to grab.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like his cooldown is so short. I think it's like less
Got
than
it.
2 seconds.
Oh yeah, no.
Got
Like,
it.
at the end of the sprint, you can just go ahead and M1 if you want.
Yep.
So it's like, I mean, it's the the number one thing I want to say is I think this killer is a perfect example of the disconnect between the players and the
devs.
developers.
Oh yes.
I mean, when they designed this killer, maybe it works internally. I don't know, but it's definitely a very, very blatantly obvious that they don't kind of understand how the game is played or how we want it to be played. It seems like they tried to make him a scary killer who you need to run from. And that's about it.
He's pretty fucking... He's very unsettling to look at in-game, in my opinion.
I
don't
love
like
Leatherface,
looking
right?
behind me.
Unsettling. I hear kind of a like it. People think he looks fucking stupid. Like they laugh when they just see him like running around like he shit his pants.
You see I mean, yeah, but then on the other hand, it's also kind of creepy how he walks.
Right. I'm with you on the creepiness. I'm with you on the creepiness, but that is something that I hear from a lot of people where they and I think that comes from people who haven't seen the movies. You know, what is the dumbass walk that he's doing?
Yeah, I've never seen the movies, and
I've seen some clips, but he kind of walks like that in the movies too.
I think in the movies it looks a lot creepier. But
oh yeah, he does like that weird. He looks like he has like sorry, but it looks like he has something stuck in his crotch area. That's how he kind of walks.
Yeah, like he's got a stick up his ass. Yeah.
Yeah.
This Leatherface really just got a double down in the basement proxy camping. By the way, just wanted to update you on my game. So we're
nice.
It feels good.
He also does that thing in the movies, which he also does in the main menu, mind you, where he like, because he has like that cleave lip, and he keeps like licking his top front row teeth, which he also like does it. I think like details like that are really cool.
I like how he looks from side to side when you are waiting in lobby as killer.
Yeah,
I think it is very cool. I also love the way that he the anime. Okay, so Leatherface has some of the best animations in game, in my opinion, when he's like revving up the chainsaw and walking around and shit. And then even when he hits people with his hammer, like the blood wipe animation, I really like it. I also like how like the blood wipe animation makes you look down, so you have to adjust your camera with the blood wipe if you want to be able to see people properly. It's like a little bit more interactivity during the blood wipe animation. So instead of just sitting there and waiting, like, oh fuck, just fucking end already, you actually have to move the mouse if you want to have the I don't know, it lets you do something while you're waiting through the blood wipe animation. So but he also has like the absolutely ridiculous chainsaw sprint swings where it just looks awful. I feel like his arm would have dislocated 2 or 3 times if that was like a clip of a real dude swinging around a chainsaw. And then the camera movement playing as him when you bump into a wall and activate tantrum is so nauseating.
Yeah, like sways around and is like jiggly. It's weird. Then again, he has the best Mori, hands down. I think his Mori.
Oh, I do.
I
do love his Mori.
Huntress is still the best, but he's
no
pretty...
way, dude.
It's
so metal. It's so fucking metal.
It would be the best if you actually like fucking chainsaw them in half. But their models don't.
They can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, come on, guys. He only chainsaws them half and half. That fucking sucks, guys. Come on.
Just like put a fucking giant red like. They don't have to like peel open like a banana. They just have to add like a split in there, like a red implied split. You know, like a dark red line. That'd be almost enough for me too.
I don't really mind. Yeah, go ahead.
So I just gotta also say that the Mori is fantastic because you could actually BM with it super good, because before the bar actually fills up, you smack him on the face.
You can just keep smacking them.
Yeah, you can just beat the shit out of people, dude, over and over. It's even better than pancake flipping with the nurse. You just smack them over the head over and over. It's so great.
I would love if that was like a feature in the game where you could BM people by doing that, but every time you start or cancel a Mori animation, they bleed out a little bit faster on the ground.
Yeah, well, I mean,
so like being able to flip people over a few times as a nurse is I fucking hate the nurse, but even that's pretty cool. So
you just like can it's just like when people run inside, you can just keep like, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that, and then you Mori them, and then they're angry because they deep it.
Right.
Add-ons. He has like 3 reskins and 2 actually unique add-ons. The rest are like just hillbilly. We got a reskin of the death engravings, the knife scratches, then the doom engravings, which are the beast's marks. We've got the previously mentioned the grease, and then his 2 actual the grease, and then he has chili.
Can we just start out?
The chili? Yeah, it's
chili.
Okay. Just for anyone that doesn't know. Chili, uncommon. A big bowl of steaming chili to keep you fresh and strong. Moderately increases acceleration when using the chainsaw. Good, some good barbecue here, Drayton Sawyer. And then we get award-winning chili. A big bowl of spicy chili made famous thanks to prime meat. Tremendously increases acceleration when using a chainsaw. Considerably increases the time penalty when bumping into objects. Oh, so this is just like...
Prime meat. The Primus.
Prime.
The secrets on the meat, Drayton Sawyer.
So these do nothing, by the way. Can we agree these do nothing? I ran these like
they do so goddamn little that like it's
Yeah.
not even visible.
Yeah, I've tried.
Best add-on for him. What's his best add-on? Answer: it's the long guy bar. It's so fucking huge.
Yes,
You can hit people from a
yes,
mile
it's
away
so good.
immediately starting your sprint.
So good.
The effective
Yeah.
rate increase is crazy.
Because without the long guide bar, you actually have to be right behind them.
You
to
gotta
get
be
an
in his butt
instant
crack.
down.
You gotta be sniffing him.
You gotta be putting your dick on the shoulder, and yeah, long guide
I
bar.
I hear the best combination is the beast marks plus something to
that's-
slow down the charge time, like beast marks plus primer bulb or tuning guide is what I hear
Yeah,
the best
that's pretty good,
combinations. I haven't
It
played
just
around with
starts
it.
off faster.
Yeah, I've only played them for like a day. I didn't really get a chance to play around with it enough. I'm gonna do it after this, but I hear this is the best.
Give me an add-on that just removes the fucking dumbass screaming he does. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Fucking hate that. Just give me like a pacifier add-on or something. Fucking hell.
You don't like his screams?
It's funny, but like
I love his screams. I think.
Yeah,
I
they're
mean, because
kinda
it's
cool,
it's very Leatherface.
yeah, I love it because it's like it's very Leatherface, but it just gets. It's like one of those. It's just after hours, it's just like, oh, come on, dude.
Yeah, I guess so.
I can't hear.
I
anymore.
like it because it sounds like the Sand People, the Tusken Raiders from
Oh
Star
my
Wars.
God,
And I know
yes.
Tofu doesn't like Star Wars, but for a person that does like Star Wars, it's very funny and memey for me to just hear that fucking noise every time.
I can't make that noise. I'm not even gonna try. Yeah, not really much to talk about with the add-ons. We could like talk about
Can we talk about the mask?
the mask.
The
Yeah.
unlockable mask. Are they confirmed unlocked?
Digital
by killing-
blackface.
It
Digital
says,
killing
it
this
says right on. It says right in the wiki, the cannibal as a unique case has 4 customization options based on the 4 original survives: Dwight, Piece of Shit, Claudette, and Jake that are locked. They are unlocked by sacrificing 25 of the respective survivor. We got
25? That's it?
Yeah, you gotta
just-
sacrifice
25
something,
each
but-
survivor.
Yep.
Oh shit! Then
Wait, what was that?
you unlock the things by killing 25 of each survivor of like Dwight, Claudette, Meg.
For anyone that hasn't heard, the 4 original survivors are Dwight, Piece of Shit, Claudette, and Jake.
Got it.
What I
No.
don't know is that
Okay.
do they unlock all at the same time, or is it like
No.
No, it's one of
Unlock
those.
No.
Like one.
25
One at a
kills and
time.
you unlock that mask.
Pretty
Cool.
sure like Claudette's is the most
So
noticeable.
nobody will ever have Jake's mask, and you'll get Claudette's mask day one.
Yes.
Right.
But I'm not sure because like God, fucking
You
Claudette's
get Meg's
mask is
hair.
so
Do you get like the pigtails when you have Meg's mask?
No, you don't. Really disappointing.
What's even the point then, man? That'd be so.
The fucking the funny thing about the Meg mask is though, because she has like, I don't know, she has like lipstick that like stays, and it looks so weird on Leatherface.
Weird.
Like Leatherface looks cool because the mouth kind of goes like in a frown, and Smart like Claudette is just what the fuck.
So, I mean, I kind of want to like switch topics to like, we haven't talked about this, right? The new map. Have we talked about that?
Oh.
I don't know. Were we considering talking about that today? It did come with Leatherface.
We can talk
Okay, sure.
about
Let's talk really quick. One of the buildings is really cool. The other one has a bunch of infinites.
it.
It wouldn't take much to make the other building cool and not have infinites, but you know, it takes time. So
Yeah.
I really like the 2 window setup. I like the drop downs. I like the pallets. I think that the building could be a really,
So
really damn.
confusing.
I mean, aside from the infinite windows, the design of the map is the building design is really damn fucking good. All you got to do is add some objects, and it's probably going to be one of my favorite maps in the game. Aside from the fact that it's swamp.
Right. That's what
really-
I was gonna say. Is I enjoy almost everything about it, minus like those infinite windows, and it's kind of unfortunate that it's a swamp map because the tall grass and the mist is just
Everyone
so
hates swamp.
not fun for a killer to play on, because it's just like, where is anybody on this map? And yeah, but maybe barbecue and chili was supposed to be designed for that map, but the problem is it's one of the smaller maps, right? So that's kind of counterintuitive to having, if the survivor is really far away, and it's just like, well, what if the radius of this is like the entire size of the map, you know?
What I really like about the smaller building, I didn't even notice, if you repair the generator, because if the generator is not repaired, like the bottom part, there's no way out. There's just, it's a second basement.
It's like the garage in Gas Heaven.
Yeah, but like when you repair the generator, like on the top, it opens to window walls.
Yeah.
And in the bottom, it
I wish
opens
the
to
generator
doors.
was in the downstairs.
Yes, it should definitely be in the downstairs. That'd make it so cool.
Be cool. Because I mean, no one would do the generator there, but like if you did, I don't know. I would like to see even that building maybe get some.
It's done.
Whatever. One thing that I want to bring up, just because this is how Swamp is designed, the generators are placed on high points so the survivors can see the killer from a mile away, but there's a whole bunch of line of sight blocking for the killer because he has to trudge through all this shit. So the survivors can see the killer and the killer can't see the survivors, which is why Swamp feels so hide and seek. That tied with the fact that the edge of the map has so many fucking objects to hide behind, even pallet loops, just pallet loops spawning in the outside of the map, and the outside of the map being elevated. It just caters to bad gameplay. But despite all of this, like with how it kind of works with the new map because of how small the new map is.
Yeah, it's. So, I think it's even smaller than Shelterwoods, right? It feels smaller
than
Shelterwoods.
Shelterwoods. I don't even think Shelterwoods is that small.
Yeah,
Shelterwoods
is that small. Cool Tower, I think, is the smallest.
Yeah,
Cool Tower is really damn small.
I think.
I think the hospital is the smallest map, is it not?
What? No, this hospital is
Memorial,
huge.
Larry's? I mean, Larry's feels big because there's so many fucking things.
It feels big, but I'm pretty sure someone did some testing and discovered that it was the smallest.
Still makes it a shitty map.
Something that I want to bring up about this map, and I think it's the first map that's ever done that, is transparent walls where you can see in, but you can't pass, right? Like the netting or whatever.
The
fishnet. A very interesting concept as a killer, to be able to see inside yet not be able to go inside through like an impassable object. I would like to see more stuff like that. I think it helps.
One kind of has that, does it not?
With the boarding, because I'm saying this is almost completely. Yeah, the Coldwind walls are more like that, but this is very transparent. Like you can see all the way through, you know, like there isn't really a chance to be not avoided, you know. At least there's some boards that are physically blocking your body. But yeah, so that's just something cool that I wanted to bring up as well.
And dig it.
Right, that was the map. I think, are we gonna go about the perk changes? Or I think we're gonna do something. We're gonna read the email. We got one email.
Yeah, email. We have enough time. Like shit's getting fucking.
Let's do it. Let's
go.
Let's
email, dude.
Let's
do the email. And then we're
rapid fire podcast.
It's our one fan. Come on, we gotta
from you know, if you know who you are, if you're listening, Beast of Prey. Purpose is on Myers when a procedure, no better perks available, and when the perk works, it can be good.
Not that fast.
Not that fast. I can't hear what the hell you're saying. Yeah.
Beast of Prey. Played with this on Myers when I prestige and no better perks available, and when the perk works, it can be good for mind gaming survivors and getting free hits. Do you think it would be a perk worth running if the cooldown was reduced and was activatable like that hard? I also think it's ironic that Hunters doesn't synergize well with this perk since it's best on melee killers. In a similar line of thought, I really hate Coldwind Farm as a killer because most of the walls are see-through and it's easy for survivors to juke the killer even if you can hide your stain, because they can just see you through the wall. I think it's the only realm of these type of walls. Should it be changed?
Maybe. I mean, I Beast of Prey activating after X amount of time in a chase, you can kind of like play around it. I don't know. I mean, there's also just turning around to hide your red light, right? Like that does block a little bit of line of sight, but it's not too much of an issue. As far as Coldwind walls are concerned, I think that it's an interesting element of gameplay, and I kind of like that it caters more to chasing someone and less to them breaking line of sight and hiding. Some people, you know, will disagree and they'll say, I can't have my red light, you know, I don't like it. I mean, I get it. but I also like the gameplay elements that it adds. You know, I don't know.
Personally,
Cool concept.
I think this is. I don't really like this perk just because. Well, for two reasons. One, I want killers to work on honing their skills for a nice moonwalk play. I don't want that being built into a perk when that could be used for something else. And second, I don't like perks that are really built into Bloodlust. You know, I just don't like Bloodlust is just puke in general, so I just don't like the route of perks being built around it. That's all.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he did suggest in the email about, you know, making it activatable like Dead Hard and not tied to Bloodlust. I think tying anything to Bloodlust is terrible, and you're just digging a deeper hole, because I think Bloodlust should eventually be removed. So I would like to see nothing tied to it, because I personally think it should eventually be taken away. But yeah, and I do agree with what you said too, where it also kind of takes. It kind of like gives them it's like a hand holder. Like they don't need to learn to moonwalk and mind game if they can use this perk. Whereas you could already basically get the benefits of this perk just by learning to moonwalk and play correctly. You know, it's kind of like a hand holding, similar to Bloodlust, where like, you know, it's kind of holding your hand, whereas you should be working towards not needing the perk. You know,
It makes sense that a Bloodlust perk would hold your hand.
that is true. That is true.
Pretty fitting.
That's a
Yeah.
solid point.
Oof.
That
Beast of hand
disconnect, maybe
holding.
disconnect between players and developers.
But at the same time, the red stain does disappear for 25 seconds. That's a long fucking time.
Yeah.
Like, so if that's activatable, that might actually be like, that might not even be like, that probably does more than you could do just by moonwalking. Like, that's pretty fucking good, you know?
2-minute cooldown.
Like, I would say if they wanted to do a cool perk, like,
Wait,
I don't
hang
know
on.
if this sounds cool. Oh, go ahead.
You said a minute cooldown on the perk?
2-minute.
Oh, 2 minute. Okay, never mind. No, I'm sorry. Carry on, my bad.
I think that a scary perk like Beast of Prey is, if you run this perk, what if you just don't have a stain?
Oof.
What do you guys think about that?
I don't know about that, man. Like, I think if it was just faster cooldown, but also like shorter usage. So like if you could maybe not press a button, but if you're in a chase for X amount of time, and then it just disappears for say 5 or 10 seconds, and then the cooldown is like 30 seconds, I think it'd be better.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, just not having a red stain at all. I don't know about that.
Would it be worth running that perk? Do you think? Do you think that would be a very meta perk that people would run for chase?
Possibly.
I don't.
Because I
You
mean,
could just learn to moonwalk.
Well, I mean, you can say that, but like not having the red stain is also a pretty big upside. It gives you a lot more
Right.
visibility
Yeah.
when you're making the play.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, it's still not something. Even if it was like exactly how you described, I'd probably still not run it. That's just me.
right.
I don't like. I think it's a cool idea, but it wouldn't fit in my playstyle.
I mean,
I'd have to try it
the
out.
version of my perk, like that revision idea, like has no, like, you don't need to be in a chase, you don't need nothing. It's literally you don't have a stain. So there's really no like downside to it. It's whether or not that provides enough value. And the reason I wanted to ask that is because if that doesn't provide enough value, then is Beast of Prey worth it in any scenario, right?
Yeah.
If I basically give you a perk, if I give you Beast of Prey and say you don't have a stain anymore, period, and you say you don't want that perk because it doesn't provide enough value, then does Beast of Prey, with the current way it is, provide any value? And
I mean,
think the answer
I'm not
is
saying
no.
it provides no value. It would have value, but I don't know if it'd be a meta perk. I think it'd be really useful,
Okay.
but I don't know if
Yeah.
it'd be something I'd run over other perks that I run.
I think it might be like a wiggle perk that I use sometimes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
There's a suggestion here in Tofu's chat. I think Beasts of Prey would be better if it worked like Jason's Stock and Feather 13th. You can toggle down or off, but it has a bar that goes down. It takes longer to recharge the longer you use it.
I think it's a great idea, honestly.
Interesting.
That'd be
That's
sweet.
pretty fucking cool.
That's cool.
Yeah, you could use it when you need it and then turn it off when you don't need it. I think that'd be great, honestly.
That would be just general perks like that for killing.
What if Beast of Prey removes your terror raise?
We're getting into
Really?
spicy shit here. Just
That would be
dude,
weird.
pair
You'd
that,
still
pair
have the
that,
red
no, no, no,
light to
pair
be
that
able to
with
react.
whispers. Pair it with whispers.
That
You
would
see
let
whispers
you
on,
actually fucking mind game shit.
What if you,
like,
you
whispers
removed your
like
terror
turns on, you
radius?
wait 2 seconds, and then you turn your terror radius off. Oof.
What if it removed your terror radius but made your stain larger?
I don't know if
We're getting crazy now.
All right, now we're theory crafting all these perks.
We
I'll
can
go
tinker
more,
in this
dude.
shit.
You can fucking tinker to make your red stain like across the map.
The entire
Fucking
map's
hell.
red.
I've heard you can do that actually, like by messing with shit.
Beast of prey to make it bigger.
Um,
Yeah.
I'm a beast of prey. Look at how big it is.
That's
Cool.
a
Well,
big
I think that was a good discussion on that
beast
email.
of prey.
Thanks for whoever
Yeah.
sent that in.
Yeah, agreed.
thanks to my boy. Fuck, I closed the thing. You know who you are.
Make sure to plug the. I don't even know what the email is. Make sure to plug that shit.
Yeah, plug it
Yeah.
everywhere, dude. Let's get some emails.
If you wanna tell us we're bad at the game, we should stop doing the podcast and stuff, just head on over to daylightcastpodcast@gmail.com.
You can
Yeah.
email us anything, literally anything.
Yes,
We will talk
email
about it on
us
stream.
pictures
You can
of
send
your
us a
cute
blank
Siberian
email.
husky.
Dude,
Please.
Like shit post. Do whatever, dude. Do whatever.
You can send us fan art, dude, and then we can put it on the stream. Oh.
Don't send us porn.
Send us. Do it. We'll even
send
shout
us
it out.
porn.
We'll say,
Send
all
us
right,
some
this man sent us this link. We can't
Ted-
do anything with that, but he sent it.
Send
will
us some
talk about
Ted
it.
Cruz
Send us
a la
everything. Send us
porn.
Send
Hell
us good porn. Send us really good stuff.
Oh Jesus Christ! Oh God!
And now it's for that part of the podcast
I
from
think
the
we're
web.
done here, boys. Today was a
Yeah.
productive.
From the web, here we have picture of Billy pulling down Dwight's pants number
Oh,
164.
Please let that be the
Asymmetrical
outro. Jesus. How do you guys end the
We're all
podcast
animals.
each time? We just make weird slurping noises.
We just imitate killer stunt sound.
What's the email? Put it in the chat.
Yeah,
I wanna
what's-
send
what-
it
yeah,
out.
yeah,
What's the
put it in
email?
the chat.
It's daylight. Fuck, I misspelled it already.
It's Daylightcast podcast.
podcast.
He doesn't know the email. What do we do?
I've already forgot the password, by the way. I'm so
Uh,
glad that like Firefox saves a password.
Oh my God! Why do we have this guy in charge? What are we doing?
I will be taking over. This is now Flare TV Talks About Dead by Daylight for 2 hours podcast.
He's buying my podcast. Fuck.
Is daylightcastpodcast@gmail.com?
Yes, Daylightcast
Alright.
Daylightcast@gmail.com was taken for some fucking reason.
All right. So, what's going on? We should probably wait to touch base on the perk changes. We should just give it a week, play around with them.
Yeah.
Hit it up next week. Plus, we're like,
down.
dude, we're like 2.5 hours deep into this.
We
shit.
are
Like,
like, I
how much
give
can
the
you
exact-
even upload?
Oof, 2.5, dude. 2.5 hours? That'll take. I'm gonna upload that shit while I'm sleeping. That's not coming out anytime soon.
Yeah, I think we should probably save
my
the perks
ISP is
next
still
week.
garbage. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's all
I'm
good.
sorry.
Right on.
So, I guess this is the part where I like plug you guys. Tofu streams on, it's gonna be in the fucking video description. Tofu streams on Twitch and on OTofu. I don't know under what like alias you stream.
Twitch.tv/otofu, Twitch.tv/Ryux_apples, Twitch.tv/FlareTV, Twitch.tv/RYUTI, and then I believe he has an underscore. Is there an underscore?
Correct. There is.
Okay, you will be able to find all these links in the chat, also the description
In the
of the
description.
video. Thanks so much for hanging out, watching, and listening to our podcast.
Thanks.
Thank you very
Um,
much.
Thank
Send
you
us
very
emails.
much. See you
Send
next.
us email.
Send
Yeah.
us fucking.
See you
send us
next
some
time when
fucking
we
emails.
talk more shit about Dead by Daylight game design. Have a fantastic rest of your day.
Woo-wee.
Alright, see you later, guys.
Fucking wait, we didn't make a mind game joke. Podcast or a mind game.
Right on.
Okay, bye.